Yeah, they're like.
Thank you.
You're listening to GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
There has been and is an existing presence, an ET presence. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change reality.
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
GUFON Radio.
Or you were either out, brother.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
GUFON Radio.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
You're listening to GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
Marlene, don't turn the TV up so high. Marlene, turn that down.
All right. Welcome to GUFON Radio. I'm your host, Rich Giordano. Can't stop smiling. Glad we made it here to Wednesday, March 27, 2019. Yeah, we got a guest on tonight. Steve Erdman's going to be joining me here in just a few moments, and we're going to talk about a lot. I can already tell a lot of different things, so buckle up and get ready for a good time. Yeah, you know, we don't get a lot of guests like we used to, but I'm starting to try to get what I think would be, kind of like a great evening of information. You know, the older we get, the more stuff we gain knowledge on, and we can share that forever. It'll be imprinted in time right here on YouTube. So I want to thank everybody here in the chat room. And Big Cat, funniest thing, you said it's a bird, it's a plane, it's GUFON. Right before the show, I was looking for something for one of our shows, and it is called the Superman UFO. And I was just watching that before we got here, like 5 minutes before the show. And that is weird that you said that. But that means that we are in line for a great evening. And I am going to bring on Mr. Steve Erdman, and we were just chit-chatting just a few minutes before the show, but he's an investigative journalist, so, you know, that means a lot to us here. That means you're definitely getting details in our stories, and you're getting stuff that has been investigated, researched, and talked about and shared. And that's what I hope we can do tonight, is to enlighten you and bring in a different mind to GUFON Radio and the chat room and everybody else. So I want to introduce Steve. Mr. Erdman, thank you for coming on GUFON Radio. It is a great pleasure to have you on here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I should have had you on sooner. I saw you on Facebook, and then I don't know. You look familiar to me. You must have been around in the UFO field for a while, right?
Well, yeah, since I was 15, I guess you'd say, when I had my first UFO sighting.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
So that was what year was that?
1960.
Oh, okay.
And it convinced me there was something unusual going on. Although I was familiar with the UFO literature at the time, but not extensively. But it was something that jolted me into seeing UFOs as they really are. And I mentioned this on other programs. Do you want me to go into it briefly?
Yeah, that'd be actually perfect.
Well, I was being a teenager, next door neighbor and some of his buddies, teenage buddies, we decided to go to the Fox Theater, which is uptown, and see Hercules Unchained. It either was Hercules or Hercules Unchained. Both movies came out a year apart, one from the other. And we took the bus down there and seen the movie. And as teenagers are, after the movie, we were waiting for the bus to take us to the South St. Louis. And we're talking and we're walking and talking. And the bus comes and we let it go past us. So we just keep walking. We'll catch the next one and keep walking and walking and walking. And so we did eventually walk all the way to South St. Louis to where we live. And his two buddies, about 6 blocks earlier, they trailed away to their home. And then my next door neighbor, he went into his house through the front door. I was living with my parents in a Siamese duplex. You know, they look, they're almost door to door, but it has a gangway. And I started down the gangway and looked ahead, and I said, oh, look at the moon behind the tree. There was a small oak tree just on the other side of the gate. And I, unlatched the gate, and I walked towards the back. I usually let myself in the back way, and I said, I'll take a look at the moon. That was awful bright. And I looked, and it wasn't the moon. And in fact, if I'd been thinking logically, at that time of the night, which is after midnight, the moon wouldn't have been in that position. That was like in a kind of a position it would have been in if you seen a moon at 8 o'clock in the evening or something. The moon would have been much higher, almost overhead, at the time in the time of the evening.
So is it close to you, you think, or is it far away, or can you tell?
It was an open space. Oh. There's no, other than that tree there, it was just like an open sky. I'd have to take a guess at it, but I would say maybe, if I'm lucky, 600 feet. But it struck me, not thinking of UFOs, I was saying, what in the world? I was just total shock. And first impression was like it was some humongous blue-white dove. Had a swept back appearance. What the heck is a dove? And then I looked closer, and it began to shimmer and shake and start revolving. It went into like a globe shape, and then it started to go up and over the yard, up in the clear sky. And all I could do was just keep my sight on it, and eventually it went out of the line of vision and just went up so high it just disappeared. I sat on the back porch for a long while trying to think, well, what did I just see? What was this? And that to this day, I haven't figured it out. That clearly was not an airplane, was not the moon. You go down the list.
Yeah.
And that got me interested in the UFO field. And of course, I've had strange sightings since then, but nothing like that.
So at 15, you had Sorry about the background noise. Somebody started up their motorcycle right out the window. Unbelievable. So you saw this thing at 15, and that got you hooked into it? I mean, did you go to the library and had to go look up UFOs? I mean, was it like that?
I started subscribing to a few magazines and getting a few books at the library. One magazine I started subscribing to was Ray Palmer's Flying Saucers. And then he had a search magazine and a forum, and I got those too. And he was the progenitor of the Schaefer mystery, and that kind of rang a bell with me for some reason. But I also read Keyhole's books on flying saucers. They were popular back then.
Yeah.
And,
Donald Keyhoe, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Donald Keyhoe, and he was pretty convinced we're dealing with extraterrestrial aircraft, which I no longer am convinced. But at that time, that seemed to be the popular theory.
Wait, so you're not? Wait. What did you just say? You're not convinced that they're UFOs, or what did I miss?
They're not necessarily extraterrestrial.
Oh, okay. What do you think they are then?
They're multicausal. They have different origins. One of them may be spaceships. I don't know. But if they're spaceships, they're a strange kind of spaceship. Dr. Hynek eventually referred to them as M&M, metal and magic. And because they appear to be able to do magical things and change appearances, shape shift, and do all kinds of things. And I think it has, after studying, is one of the books I got very early, and fortunately I did get it very early, was Carl Jung, the psychoanalyst book on flying saucers.
Okay.
And he had some interesting ideas, even at that young age. It fascinated me that a lot of these things had a apparitional quality to them. They seem very physical at times, but then again, turn around, they're very apparitional. And his theory was that mankind during certain ages or eons, the collective consciousness of man, these images or symbols or archetypes appear in mass. And this was just one of those times that we were seeing things. A lot of people were seeing them as spaceships, but their true origin, what they really are, is intricately tied in with our psyches, our minds. And we're almost co-progenitors or co-genitors of the phenomena. We help create them. Now, it's just one theory. Like I say, extraterrestrial is an interesting theory, but getting the proof with all these other tangent aspects, it's not an easy subject to get into. It's very mind-bending and.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say that I think that is one of the reasons why we're not having disclosure like people think we're supposed to have. I think these beings are intricate. They're designed maybe partially. They're living. Like you said, it's part magic. I kind of said that a lot, that everything is tied together, and I think it's too much for just an average day person who doesn't look into it to understand what they would be looking at. I think it would blow their mind. I think it would blow my mind if I ever, and here I am doing this for a long time, researching, investigating UFOs, talking to people like yourself. But do you think that that's why, we're not having disclosure right away, or? Because they've been talking about UFOs for 50, 60, 70 years, right? So why not?
Right. Yeah, it's very complicated. The ins and outs are very intricate. It may be that there may have been secret groups at one time, going back to the 17th or 18th century, that were aware of the phenomena and try to make contact with it, and maybe we're successful. And out of that, there were inventors, like you name them. what's his name? Telsa was one
Oh,
inventor.
yep.
But there were earlier inventors like the artist, the grand inventor.
Michelangelo? No,
Yeah,
him. Wait, who else is the? I know who you're talking about. I can't think about it.
it should be on the tip of my tongue.
It is the guy. Yeah, he designed. I think.
But he designed all kinds.
Yeah, the
All
helicopter.
kinds of inventions, and according to the history, he had gone into a cave and had visions of contacting some type of humanoids. So they're speculating that might have been the point where his creativity began.
Right.
And if it's true for him, it might have been true for a lot of other inventors. As the years went on, we began to see UFOs under strange circumstances. And one of the UFOs they were seeing was what they call the airships of the late 1800s.
Yeah.
And of course, they're here again. The inventors would be seen and would talk to people, say, "Yeah, we're the inventors, and we have a special gas that runs the airships." And I'm not so sure that is a bunch of bunk. There was a group in California that was a part of the inventors clan. Sonoma, I think it was called the Sonoma Inventors Club.
Yep.
And then we have Tesla with his inventions. He even bragged about he was going to come out, disclose a propulsion that was very magical, and they couldn't force him to. He said, "Well, you're going to find out about it shortly." And I'm just wondering if there is something there. And there you can also see the connection between the inventors and the contact with these ultra-terrestrials or other reality beings. It may have happened at a very early stage. And of course, we got the ancient astronaut theories of how we were in contact with the gods, and a lot of our learning and wisdom came from them. So, everybody says, "Well, when did this all begin? How did this all connect up?" And that's one theory. Finding proof is another. But if you like legends and historical tales, they pretty well lays it out in plain sight.
It's in artwork. I mean, we're talking. They've been documented in caves. Petroglyphs, right? And on the rocks. This is just something that I think has been with us forever, for humans.
Right. It's part of our. It's part of our planetary system.
Yeah.
They've been around for a long, long, long time. They've been next to us, right next to us, all this time, and they don't make themselves appear in handy dandy little ways. I mean, they've been sighted as humanoids coming out of spaceships, but they've been sighted as other things too. So I think eventually there's going to be a new science. We're on the verge of it now, and it's just not going to be the old-fashioned nuts and bolts science.
Yeah.
It's going to include quantum physics, and we're going to start getting insights into the human mind and how it works. Or I think even Jacques Vallée, the ufologist, you're familiar with him?
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, he felt there was a control system of some type in the UFO phenomena that was kind of camouflaged and guiding us behind the scenes, Yeah. And it was something that I don't know, but somewhere along the line there may have been a physical reality. And like I say, various ingenious minds and inventors picked up on it. Unfortunately, some of them were bad characters. And here I'm thinking of Adolf Hitler in the Third Reich.
Oh, okay.
And they had inventions. They had what they call circle wing aircraft, and they had plans to build aircraft. In fact, they may have even shot some early astronauts into space before the Russians.
Yeah.
But it was all kept secret. But we know they had plans to build flying saucers, for lack of a better term. Some of them speculated Kenneth Arnold may have seen something, some prototype or something, either we stole from the Nazis or built from the Nazis, but it had to be before 1947. Because that's the year he saw his UFOs.
Yeah.
But they weren't flying saucers. They were delta wing, pretty much like some of the things that the Nazis had on the drawing boards. Horton Brothers had a delta wing craft they were going to use as a bomber to fly over the ocean and bomb New York if it ever got perfected. So either somebody got those perfected and Kenneth Arnold saw them, or these were just more of the actual UFOs, parading themselves.
Yeah, sure, it could have been. Well, World War II, the German scientists split up between Russia and the U.S. That's how the space programs were born, I think, right?
Right.
So, I mean, if you think about it, well, it's true. I think Werner von Braun was running NASA. It was run by Nazis. It's crazy.
Yeah, he came over in Operation Paperclip, is where we siphoned off some of the Nazi scientists, and of course we gave them homes here and identities, and we even gave them grave sites and stuff, and all government free, and there was no threats from our government. I mean, we treated them like brothers, and so.
Well, the thing is, during that time when they split up, of course, the space race was between the two countries that got the German scientists. Of course, the Nazis or the Germans were building UFOs. That's what I think the Foo Fighters were. I thought they were part of a German operation.
Yeah, somebody's theorized that. That's where and then possibly the Scandinavian ghost rockets. So it's possible that they started on that technology. Everybody thinks it's a Johnny-come-lately thing, and it's possible that inventors were messing with this stuff going back centuries.
Oh yeah,
and
easily
to the point that it's an alliance between the UFO knots, if you want to call them that, or denizens, and the inventors. And they I believe people like Dolan, can't think of his first name. He's written several books. Richard Dolan.
Yeah.
And there's another guy that writes on the Nazis quite a bit. That there's an alternate society behind the scenes, which is scary. Because we think we're the cat's boots, we're what we see and do every day. But what if there is an alliance between the UFO denizens, for lack of a better term, and the hidden inventors, and they're actually doing things in dark secret. They're part of a secret government, I guess you would call. And they've been behind the scenes for some time, and what we're seeing in our everyday events is not the real world. Why? And they'd have to keep secret because they're so far advanced of our everyday science. They couldn't say no. We got zero energy or zero gravity propulsion, and we don't need oil. They can't come out and say that, so they have to coexist along the edges behind the ridges, not be seen. They can't come and say, we for the last 200 years we actually have had a lot of this technology. Now there's leaks. Ben Rich comes out and says we already have the ability to fly to the stars. Exactly. That's scary.
Yeah.
Somebody said he was misquoted. I don't know, because I see bits and pieces of the same hidden technology from other different sources, and So
Are you talking secret space program?
yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, but that would only be a part of it. It would be a whole alternate breakaway society, which the space program would be one part of it. But there's been a lot of people. Now, I can't vouch for everyone that comes out and says they've been a party to this, like Good. Was it Goody? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Good.
Yeah, Good.
Corey Good. Yeah.
Corey Good and people like that. I can't vouch.
Right.
That they're 100%.
Nobody can. Yeah.
And there's been other people, but Greer, he has his whole army of whistleblowers. Can they all be wrong?
No, they can't. It's an impossibility now at this stage in the game with all the whistleblowers.
And if what they're saying is true, there has to be a strong reality behind the scenes for these events to be taking place. It just seems that we're not seeing this in our everyday existence, and we often wonder, where are these trillions of dollars going? Every year, there's $1 trillion missing here, $1 trillion missing there.
Yeah.
Where is that going?
It's going to that secret government agency or part. Maybe all the big countries are in on it. That's
the whole thing. Yeah. See, that's the whole thing. And we like to pick out one single nation and say this one is the culprit. Like a lot of people are doing that to the Jewish state, saying, well, they're the culprit. They're the grand controllers. They're the controllers of Hollywood. They're the controllers of this and that. But when you think about it, they can no more control this entity than the man in the moon. Every nation has a secret intelligence, dark intelligence operation. Everyone has their intelligence operation. Every nation, even Africa probably. They have their own spies and their intelligence.
I'm sure.
So, blaming it on like one nation like Israel, saying, oh, they're the grand culprits. No doubt. They have a hand in it. They're doing some dirty things. No doubt. They can't be controlling the id monster, as I like to compare it to the forbidden planet, that's really controlling this thing. And Eisenhower came out and called it the military-industrial complex. But it's expanded. The technology that these culprits have expands minute by minute, hour by hour. It gets deeper and more complex and more thorough. So I expanded that model that Eisenhower gave us to the military-industrial corporate complex matrix, because it's got to be so much more technically proficient. I mean, some of the mind control programs they've gotten, and I've written on them on my website and in places a few others. It's just like a skull technology, biological warfare. There's different neuro-linguistics programs, thought reformation, you name it. There's sites out there, they actually name them one after another. And one lady she's just an average housewife. She did a study of patents. And she found a number of patents of this technology. These are actually real patents that the people have filed. The government probably is using them for mental control and mental technology. So it's not make believe, It's not something people just don't know about it, and how much control it has over our lives is frightening, because, like I say, it's very progressive. Every second that goes by, the technology advances that much more. There's a term for it. I can't think. It's LOL or something like that, which means there's at a steady progression. In fact, Kurzweil, the singularity man with AI,
yeah,
He says if this progression of technology goes on as it is, by the year 2030, we'll be at the singularity. That's provided we don't have a world war and blow ourselves all to smithereens,
See, that's what scares me, because, you see that civilizations come and go every century, 1,000 years, whatever it is. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen if they give us full control over this technology, or somehow we infiltrate it, and I don't know, we'll do something wrong because we're human. So
right.
I don't know if we get to a certain degree of intelligence and technology that they wipe us out and make it start all over again. That's what I feel like. Civilizations are lost, and then new ones come out, and they get, technologically more advanced. But I think thousands of years ago we were more advanced.
Yeah, I did an article, a review of a book by Barrett on AI technology and super AI technology, and he was quoting various scientists like Kurzweil, and he said, we're capable of actually creating a brain functioning brain.
Wow.
That that's not the big, and we can actually implement in the brain fail-safe measures. That's not the problem. The problem is the human nature, the humans, the criminals that want to take technology over for evil purposes. And that can happen no matter what a technology, even if we make nice robots or AI, because of evil criminals. And we see this in science fiction all the time. They can destroy, because of their evilness and the criminality involved, it can backfire. So unless we do something about evil nature, and this is why we're in such a mess today, politically, socially, scientifically, is because of our human nature. And unless we get a handle on that, we're always going to be in danger of extinction.
Yeah, and that's what scares me. And and you hear a lot of people say, "Well, why don't they just give us the technology and cure cancer and give us everything we need?" But we would overpopulate. I mean, you have to let evolution take its course if you believe in evolution. I don't know if creation, who knows?
The problem with evolution doesn't eliminate evil.
No.
Apparently it's something so embedded in our psyches. Despite our advancements, it's like our scientific advancements, we can advance 10 steps ahead because of our evil nature, and what we do with it, we actually go back 50 steps.
Yeah.
So it's the evil component, and some of the people that it's a mask. I call it the id monster mask. It's the mask that we hide behind, and we all do it. A lot of fiction stories, like the Portrait of Dorian Gray, and we hide behind these masks. And our politics, this is our Democrats and Republicans and whatever you want to call them, they're all hiding behind this mask that says, we are the good guys. We wear the white hats and everybody else is evil. We're the good guys. We're out to help you. And you see a lot of religions are this way. We are the one true religion. We are pure and holy, and we can do no wrong, and we got to destroy all those evildoers. And these are nothing but masks. Like one of my favorite programs was at one time True Detective, where the detective finally traces down the culprit. I think his name is Earl. Earl something another, and finds out he's a mad cultist and living in the Florida, or in I forget what state that was in. Louisiana Everglades, whatever. And he tells the detective, "Take off your mask. Take off your mask. You're just wearing a mask." And it's so true. We have these masks that we hide behind, no matter who we are, what group we belong to. We hide behind them, and even religion. How many preachers out there are doing the same thing? We are the one true religion. We are holy, and all you need to do to be holy is ask for forgiveness. And we do. We ask for forgiveness for our sins, but we don't give up the mask, and we just continue on with our evil. I hope I can mention this would not get you in some kind of blackmail, but Scientology is one religion like that.
Oh yeah, you can mention that. That's all right. Yeah, definitely.
Well, they go after their enemies. So
well, we're just talking.
Yeah, but you just don't know. They are truly evil. And here they got people like Tom Cruise involved, and it's all now this lady's exposing them. She was a member. She's running programs on TV exposing them how the real motivation is money.
Yeah, Leah Remini, who played the wife in that TV show with Kevin James, King of Queens. Yeah, she's been going on every show is talking about how it's a cult.
It's a cult.
Yeah.
Well, that all I think most isms, this ism, that ism, are cults, and they all carry a white hat to mask themselves. So,
but you can say that about all religions too, if you want to get into
all religion.
Yeah.
If anything, you get back to Christ. He said, "Take off your mask." So we don't know. It's a sad picture. It's a sad picture. I don't think Jesus used those exact words, but I mean that was pretty a pretty good metaphor, I guess.
But in Italy, the Catholic Church has their own telescope, Lucifer. That's what they call it, right? And I think they're holding a lot of secrets.
Well, the Catholic Church doesn't have a very good history.
No, it does not.
With the bad popes and some of the secret organizations.
Oh yeah.
Involved, Masons, and in fact, I mentioned Bill Cooper earlier before we went on his show.
Yep.
He had a whole list of secret organizations that he felt that we inherited down through the ages, including the Illuminati, the Luciferians, the Snake cult, I think it was called. You name it, and it all boiled down to Babylon, the Babylonian Empire, or what he called the new Babylon, or I forget what he called it.
I think that's it. Yeah. Well, what is the Bill Cooper story? Because I know you know a lot about. I can't remember the details. What was his deal?
Well, I was like I mentioned before. I wrote an article. I've had about 6 or 7 articles published on this, based on Mark Jacobson's book, Pale Horse Rider.
Oh yeah.
William Cooper, The Rise of Conspiracy and the Fall of Trust in America.
Yeah. And
it's a recent book, 2018. But he pretty well lays out the life of Bill and how he got involved in the topics and that. And of course, Bill, when he went into the military, of course, he always was suspicious of official corporations and things. But he went in the military. He had a high security clearance, top secret, Q-sensitive, compartmentalized information security clearance. And he was able to get into files and see things. And in fact, he belonged in the Navy, and he served beneath Admiral Bernard A. Clary, who was Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Pacific Fleet. And he had a special hidden cabinet with had secret files. He was able to get in there and see how our government was lying about Tonkin Bay invasion, and how the count of wounded soldiers was wrong. And I think later on in his career, when he was on a submarine, they saw a UFO, a huge UFO, a giant UFO It was on the USS Turek. I'm doing this all from memory. I think it was USS Turek submarine. And it was a very huge UFO that came into the water and then came out again and went over, disappeared over the horizon.
Yep.
So he knows they're real. And then he said when he was in Vietnam, in the DMZ zone, there was a lot of UFO sightings and talk about UFOs. So he knows they're real. Somewhere along the line, he became so distrustful of government. He also he gave up the UFOs as spaceships idea. He said, no, these are government inventions, either directly or indirectly, either as propaganda or actual physical craft, pretty much like I feel or other researchers feel that. So he became a radio broadcaster with a small radio station. And he began to see things that people don't normally see and saying, well, watch out for this. Beware of this. And then he started talking about silent weapons for quiet wars, SWFQW, which is in effect is kind of his version of the Matrix with the blue and red pill.
Yeah.
And in fact, quoted in his book, he says, long before anyone was talking about the red and blue pills of the Matrix, Bill Cooper was warning mass social engineering on the part of the New World Order. And he pretty well believed that. He kept seeing this in different cases. He's seen it in Waco. He's seen it in the Oklahoma City bombing when Kubrick came out with 2001: A Space Odyssey. He saw it in the symbiology that was in the movie. Of course, Kubrick, he's come out with some interesting movies that kind of indicates the same topic. One was Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
That was a classic where he kind of, everything, a lot of science fiction is very prophetic. Bill Cooper was very prophetic. And he just felt this secret government was working hard behind us. And one way he became a grand prophet was when they came out, CNN and the government came out with this story, how Osama bin Laden, watch out for him. He's going to do something very bad. And then the CNN went and interviewed him out in the desert. And Cooper's like, whoa, wait a minute. Our army intelligence couldn't find him. Our military couldn't find him. And here CNN can interview him. He said, watch out for these guys. There's something screwy going on. Something bad's going to happen. And it's going to be in one of our cities shortly. He said, don't believe them when they said Osama's behind it. He says, it's not. They're lying to you. Well, a couple of months later, guess what happened?
Yeah.
9/11.
Oh, right.
And he said, and then he said, I told you people, you didn't listen. I told you something was going to happen, and wasn't Osama bin Laden. He says, they're going to kill me. You watch and see. They're going to come one night, late night, and shoot me on my doorstep. And he said this about 2 months before. Guess what? They came to him late at night. They had a shootout, and they shot him, killed him on his doorstep.
That's amazing.
So I don't know about this character that says he's fake news. Seems like he's been more on the ball than most people. And he just seemed to have a very intense way of looking into things down through his life, his 50 some odd years. He was able to see things that other people didn't. And apparently he and other people, I think another person that gets a short rift is the other broadcaster. They've been censoring him on the internet, and it should be on the tip of my tongue.
Alex Jones?
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be 100% correct all the time. You can, and he's kind of like, of course, him and Cooper didn't get along.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know what that tells you, but I'd say, more often than not, he hits a nail on the head. So much so that people are scared of what he may be telling too much of the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, but where are they getting this information? Are they whistleblowers that are finding them? It's got to be that.
No, I don't think Cooper was a whistle. Well, he was to a certain extent.
No,
he saw that information in secret files.
Oh,
but
okay.
After that, he just had a sensitivity. A lot of people, if after so many years of investigating this stuff and looking into it, you start connecting the dots more easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 and 2 equals 4, and then before you know, you're up into the thousands, and people say, "Oh, wait a minute, he's a kook." But then when they prove themselves right, then who are you going to blame?
Yeah,
blame yourself. I mean, you didn't want to listen to him. I think people build up a certain sensitivity. I think I have in some ways, nothing like Cooper is. I couldn't prophesy anything like he, or even Jones. I don't think. I have that much sensitivity, but I think when you spend your life investigating these things, you build up a sensitivity, and you can see, through the cracks. You can see what's going on.
It just starts to happen. It starts to come together.
Yeah, that's what it appears to be.
Because you were mostly nuts and bolts type of guy, and then you somewhere along the way, I guess. Over the years, right?
The UFO I saw didn't seem to be very nuts and bolts. It seemed to do some shape shifting. But the reason I got a head start is I read C.G. Jung's book on flying saucers. And he kind of pointed in another direction. Then Ray Palmer used to say the same thing. And he came out with the Schaefer mystery. Schaefer literally believed there were people living under the earth. And that's where the UFOs came, and a lot of them escaped. They were called and Bandero. The ones that remained were two camps. The Tiro, which was not infiltrating themselves with these machines and bringing in this bad radiation. They were relatively clean. And then there were the Diro, which they would hook up to these machines, but would actually accumulate this evil radiation, and they became evil by nature. But Ray Palmer later on said, they kept bugging him. What is this? You can't believe that. He says, no, I don't. Schaefer is a metaphor, is a symbology for the hidden reality that's about us. He did not physically go into caves. He thought he did. He may really honestly believed he did. I thought what he saw was real, but it was another way of attuning or intercepting this hidden reality. And then he came out with a series of thick books called The Hidden World, and that all kind of kept me slanted towards that angle. And then, when I see my own UFO, of course, I read his Hidden Worlds after I had seen my UFO. But a lot of people were coming out. John Keel was coming out with the ultra-terrestrial theory. Jacques Vallée. So many of them are coming out with what they feel is an ultra-terrestrial theory. But they may not be totally just metaphysical. Like I said, there may have been inventors or a society that did invent physical craft, but they continued in that alliance over the years.
Yeah. Oh, we were trying to think of the name. It was Da Vinci who went to the cave.
Da Vinci, right. Yeah, at 74, even with notes in front of me and stuff, my mind drifts.
Well, it's happening to me at 51, so I'm I don't know what to expect now, but no, there's so much information. It's amazing. See, a lot of people think Da Vinci, even Moses with the burning bush, that they might have been encountered by an alien being or were taking hallucinogenics, which could connect you to that, Mother Earth and having visions and whatnot. Have you ever, the ayahuasca? I think that's what it's called, ayahuasca. But they say when you take that, you actually connect with something. Everybody connects to a being, like God or whatever you perceive it, and it's a woman. And everybody says it feels like it's a woman. So it's interesting that, it would feel that way when you take that, and everybody's having this universal effect, which is kind of like abductions, in a certain way.
Yeah. Well, they that's what I say. There may be certain chemicals involved in the brain that in these psychedelics or hallucinogenics opens those ports,
Yeah.
and then you're able. So that eventually, legitimate science, true science, will find some answers to this. It's just a matter of time. There was a book written. I read some reviews on it called by Robbie Graham called "Reframing the UFO Question" or something like that. It's a book from just last year, and he had 14 essayists. Some are ufologists, some of them are quasi-skeptics, some of them are experiencers.
Right.
And they give their different versions of what's going on. And of course, pretty much like already summarized, they feel there's a new science that when we do these investigations, we have to take everything into account from A to Z and not have any firm conclusions. Of course, your debunkers, and I know one of them, and he's been a debunker since I knew him in '67, but we somehow stayed friends despite our disagreements. But they seem to be hardcore. Their skepticism is not normal. It seemed to be an aberration. And in fact, I think many years ago, I remember reading in a Fate editorial that said some scientists have found chemicals in a skeptic's metabolism and thinking processes that could be a clue as to why they become so hardcore skeptic or debunkers.
Wow.
I did an article on that too. It's on my website based on this character that he used to get so... to this day, he still is a hardcore. But I remember, for instance, back in '67, I put out a little magazine. I did run it off my own house on a multi-lift press called Dissenter. And I was thinking, well, what would be a catchy little title? Well, Dissenter, I'd be dissenting, but something extra. So I thought of the word dissenter, which means to dig up. A lot of people think exhume, dead body, but it also means digging up old facts. So I called it dissenter. And at the time, one of my subscribers was a Thomas A. Fairbanks from down in Louisiana. And he wrote me a handwritten letter, says, because I had written articles on the Kennedy assassination and how it may have been part of a conspiracy. And then I also wrote a review of this book, We Were Controlled by Lincoln Lawrence. So he wrote me and said, there's something to that. He says, I know these characters. When I was living down here in Louisiana, and he admitted he was a homosexual, and they had a church. They were trying to get a Christian church for homosexuals started down there. Mm-hmm. And he said, I knew some of these people. I hobnobbed up with them. David Furry, Clay Shaw. He said, I know these people. So we were corresponding. So I figured I'm going to take a couple excerpts of some of his better paragraphs and put a little article in my fanzine. And I named it, I knew the conspirators by Mr. X, because I didn't know if the guy wanted me to use his name. I don't believe he did at the time. And So Dave, I had Dave come by visit me, and this guy is the name is I'll give his name because it's already publicized.
Okay.
Dave Schroth, and I said, Dave, what did you think of my article? He, in no uncertain terms, called me all kinds of names.
Huh.
Said I was hoaxing. I said, no, wait a minute. I've got those letters still. They weren't destroyed, and we had some damage to my garage and a lot of my books and stuff. But if they survived, and in fact, I took them over to a copy place, and they're copying now 5 extra copies, and I'm going to put them on my website after all these years. Decide to do that because I'm just tired of being called a liar, you know.
Yeah.
But it's Mellon. She wrote this book on Garrison, Joan Mellon.
Yeah.
Farewell to Justice. She mentions Thomas A. Fairbanks in her book. So there's some added collaboration. So, but this Dave Schroth, he is. It's like, you know, he come out and said, you know, after all these years, 70 years, if you had proof, why don't you just show it? And well, first, it's not my responsibility to prove UFOs exist. I mean, to do that, I have to be on the inside track, you know, I mean, with the government and everything.
Yeah.
And but there's enough sightings out there. There's some Hynek and Jacques Vallée and all those people have had enough bona fide sightings that prove something's going on. But what he wants is some black and white metal contraption put on a silver platter and handed it to him. And I don't think it's going to happen that way at all.
Do you follow what's going on with MUFON at all?
Well, I never became a member of MUFON for one reason or another, but here's how MUFON got started. Back in '67, and Dave Schroth was a member. At one time, because of his astronomy interest, we got together with some gentlemen in St. Louis here, and they were wanting to start a UFO group in St. Louis. And I don't know if you know John Schuessler.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, John Schuessler was a president.
Yeah.
So we got a flyer out and circulated in the news that we were starting the UFO study group of Greater St. Louis. And one of the persons we knew, though he never became, there were like 7 founding members, and then it grew to about 200 or so. And we had monthly meetings, and eventually I started a subcommittee called the National Committee on Animal Mutilation and wrote a book on that. But one of the people that knew us, and I think he would have become a member, but he decided to break out on his own, was Walt Andrus. And Walt Andrus was the founder of MUFON. And he put out a newsletter called Skylook. And that's how MUFON got started, although I never did join it. I know a lot of MUFON people. I go to a lot of MUFON meetings, but I've never actually become a member.
Did you see the Philip Leach letters, the emails about Chase Kotsky and Jan Harzan and what's been going on the last couple months?
No, fill me in.
Well, Philip Leach, I'm just going to paraphrase most because there's a lot of information here, but to make a long story short, was working in MUFON and found out that Chase Kotsky, who runs MUFON, was giving evidence of pieces of a UFO to Luis Elizondo instead of keeping it for MUFON. He's put out these emails that were sent out to MUFON, which supposedly were leaked out by him, I guess. I don't know. But Chase has now resigned. But there's been a lot of tomfoolery going on with MUFON. And people have been saying it's been going on for years. But especially what Philip Leach has been writing isn't good. Possible HIPAA laws are being broken. They were doing background checks, MUFON was, on determining whether they wanted to. And mind you, all this stuff is supposedly true. But if you saw a UFO and called it into MUFON, they would do a background check on you to see if you are, having he had arrests, you know what goes on with the background check, everything up till what kind of drugs they were prescribed. And it got real bad the last couple of months, since the beginning of the year when these emails came out. I'll have to send it to you so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you heard about it, so I was just going to tap into
No.
you and see what you thought about it. But yeah, Chase had just resigned the other day.
Well, you know, this happens to organizations in general, not just MUFON, that they turn into loose cannons sometimes. MUFON seemed to have a pretty good reputation up until the time a few years ago.
Yeah, it was about
What's his name? Was it Director Rodriguez? No.
I can't remember either.
Road Digger was the president.
Oh, okay.
Road Digger. And in fact, I quote him in one of the articles about Hynek. But they seem to be fairly on the up and up. Of course, you know, a lot of these programs on TV now are I like to quote MUFON files. But
yeah.
I don't know. That's a shame that stuff like that happens.
Well, they were starting to turn this corner into making it a very profitable thing for MUFON, where they were going to give their sighting reports to TV shows, but not credit MUFON for them. But they would pay MUFON for them. Oh. So it was getting really bad. And not only that, giving evidence to non-MUFON members, you know, Luis Elizondo, giving him evidence supposedly, not going to a UFO crash site just over the border of Texas into Mexico. They had a team that could have went there, but didn't send anybody there. So there could have been evidence that was overlooked. So, you know, although Chase has been doing a good job, and yeah, MUFON may have started out being this incredible organization, but, you know, like you said, it happens with them all. They either get too big, or they have some information that the government wants, or...
Yeah, most organizations that go down the dirty brick road. I would say yellow brick road.
Yeah, the money road, yeah.
The money road. And, you know, it's a human nature to corrupt human nature. I was going to say something. I can't think. Oh, there's one scientist that became more or less the funnel for MUFON stuff. The scientist that did investigations, and I actually bought the Skinwalker Ranch. What was his name?
Oh, Bob Bigelow.
Bigelow. He seemed to be on the right track, but he kind of worked independently. He didn't want to be under the thumb of anybody. Now, he's come out and said, no, there's definitely something extraordinary going on as far as UFOs. Well, and he's put a lot of money into it, you know, investigating it.
Well, not only that, I don't know if you know about him buying UFO websites to get the data of all the people who put in their names and addresses into their websites when they reported a sighting. And he was buying these websites, getting everybody's data, where they live, who they were, and giving it to the government.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all true. You know, that's dangerous. Now, that leaves in question, why would you ever want to report to MUFON now? Why would you want to report to any UFO website if that could be the case? You know?
I don't know. Maybe that's why I stayed independent.
Yeah, that's why I did.
But even then, you need resources, though. That's the thing.
I know. Yeah, it's hard to make those connections, those relationships, if you don't, you know, toe the line, as they say, I guess, or... I don't kiss ass, maybe. I don't know. Well, you know, we've been... Oh, go ahead.
And then you attempt to have respectability. Do you know Dave Muller?
I know the name. I can't... Oh, no. Not off the top of my head.
He had an extensive collection, books and files and that. And it was so extensive, he approached University of UNM, and they took on his archives. It had become an official part of the university. He was here to visit us recently, and invited Dave Schroet, which was a mistake. But it seemed like he became very defensive of the official. Now that he was accepted by a university, he didn't want his files or his viewpoint to become contaminated. And when we were talking with Dave, I noticed that he was kind of, remember Amy Michelle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Amy Michelle was a scientist. I mean, he did a lot of study. We brought him up, and Dave brought up Michelle's orthoteny. Is that what's it called? Straight line graphics.
I can't remember.
It's the terms like orthoteny or something like that. And the other Dave had a chuckle at it too. But this Amy Michelle, his 1954 research is, even Hynek had to go see him to look at his files, and he did say there some of the reports seem to fall along ley lines,
Yes.
And it's nothing to ridicule, I mean, I hate to see Mueller trying to be a very kind of wary of dirtying to you, because it's such a raw field. It's still so much to investigate. You have to keep a fairly good open mind. And by open mind, I mean just follow the proper scientific method, which is very all-encompassing, But I hate to see it when even people in UFO research start picking their skirts up and saying, "Oh, I don't want to get in that mud,"
I know.
And we're at a stage we need as much data, as much resources, and the proper scientific method to get into it. And that's what more or less Robbie Graham says in Reframing the UFO Debate. If you get to read that, please read that, or get him on your show.
Okay. Yeah, definitely I'm interested to hear. And
get Dave
read.
Mahler on your show. He's got a lot of information. When I went to see him last time, it was in Illinois. He had about 3 rooms of files.
Wow.
And a movie screen and a theater. So he's got a lot of information. Just type in Dave Mueller on Google, he'll come up.
Oh, I'm familiar with the name. Yeah. You were talking about ley lines, how a lot of things happen along the 33rd parallel too, like cattle mutilations.
Oh yeah.
Well,
that included the Piedmont, 1973 Piedmont was down in the Ozarks. It runs through the Ozarks, by the way. Yeah, there's a lot of sightings down in the Ozarks.
But the cattle mutilations, I think it was Chuck Zukowski. I can't remember what his name was. Retired police officer, and got involved with the cattle mutilations. And
he's mentioned in my article. I just don't have him on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, he goes out in uniform and everything, and with his equipment, and he checks out cattle mutilation sites. Now there's something that is strange. That's pretty physical. So and I remember back in the 80s, I got a tape from some university, a team at the university. They had found a cow, and that's when I had that National Committee on Animal Mutilation. They sent me this cassette tape, and they were talking about the samples they found, and it appeared they said the wounds, and I think I still got that tape, even though it wasn't destroyed. They said the wounds. Where the cow was open, it looked like it had been done with the serrations. Looked like they were done with some kind of laser.
Yeah, they were cauterized.
Yeah, and they say that in the tape. And I turned that tape over to Leo Widlinski of the study group, investigation group, or a copy of it. And I don't know what he did with it. But there was a lot going on back in 73 up in Ellsbury, which is north of St. Louis, not south. Ellsbury and the Foley area, back then they had mutilated cows up there. And we went up there to check it out. And it was just your typical cows. There weren't only, I think, 2 of them or something. And we did sky watches afterward, went up there in the farmer's field. And you can see, in the country, you could see every star. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like the stars just...
you can touch them. Yeah, it's crazy.
Them, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, we had done a sky watch, and we were on a farmer's field that had one of the cows. And my friends and a friend and her boyfriend came, and he had a motion picture camera. And he was taking what he thought were UFOs, but they turned out to be airplanes. Harley Rutledge, who did an investigation in Piedmont, he had taped what he thought was magnetic flush trails behind UFOs, and they looked like little helix gyrations. Well, we thought we were seeing that, but they weren't. They were just airplanes. But we did see something strange. And to the north was a North Star, or what we thought was a North Star. Okay?
Yep.
And Greg was the one with the camera. He was doing all his photography. And then about 45 minutes, an hour later, I said, hey, guys, the North Star's moving. Now, if it was an approaching airplane, would it appear as a steady, not undulating light, just a steady light? Well, anyway, this light began to move through the tree line towards the river. I said, it's moving over towards the river. And I said, it looked like it's going to curve and come this way. So it did. As a matter of fact, it came over us. I said, Greg, here's your opportunity. Get your camera out. He says, I got no film. I used it up. So here's this thing came over us about 80 degrees up and kind of banked or something. And it looked like we could see the side. And it looked like an airplane with the cabin lights.
Yep.
But I couldn't see any wings. And then it's kind of coaxed, head over towards St. Louis. And the other witnesses, they didn't hear no sound. And I said, I did. I thought I heard a very faint jet whistling sound, very faint. Then as it went towards St. Louis, a red strobe light came on. That opens up some other questions. Oh, something else we saw while we were up there. They had these microwave towers placed around.
Yep.
There was one not too far from the farmer. And these lights came up over the horizon, came over to the microwave tower, and circled around them briefly, and then they left and disappeared. I said, is this unusual? Is this something that you call unusual? Of course, none of that compares to what I saw when I was 15, but they were unusual. And it kind of, all of that seemed to have like a Keel-esque aspect to it, things that Keel seen down in Mount Pleasant, and it's like they're almost camouflaged. If they were genuine UFOs, I can't say. To this day I can't say, but if they were, they had a camouflage aspect to them, like the light that turned into a plane that came up over us and then went back to St. Louis, and then suddenly had a strobe light on it.
Yeah.
It's like almost like they're trying to camouflage.
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah. And I've seen that.
You seen that yourself?
Not exactly, but I've seen something that was blocking out the stars. And then all of a sudden these lights, when it got away from me, there was a white and a red light. So I said, it must have been a plane, but I didn't hear it. So it was very strange. Yeah, I just dismissed it. But other people have reported it. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, so we have a lot of interesting sightings out here with the sky being so clear and, 320 days a year of sunshine. We get a lot of stuff out here. I wanted to ask you, because time's going by real quick. Have you been following To the Stars Academy at all?
No.
Oh, okay.
What's going on there?
Well, the Luis Elizondo. He's kind of like their front man with Tom DeLonge. But, the TV show is coming out in March or May 12th, I believe. That new UFO show, Luis Elizondo, is kind of like a docu-series.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you were following up on them. I was just wanting your opinion on.
No, there's so much to cover, and I see all different little bits and pieces on the internet, but it's you can only there's so many hours in a day. You know what I mean?
I know. Well,
and by the way, you're in Arizona.
Yeah.
Dave Mahler moved to New Mexico, not too far from.
Oh yeah.
Roswell. So if you ever want to get up there to talk to him and actually see his library, just contact him.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, that'd be incredible to see. Jeez. Here I am thinking I have a lot of stuff, but 3 rooms. I'd love to go through that.
Yeah, I had all kinds of books out in the garage. Unfortunately, we didn't watch the garage as well as we should, and the roof gave way and the weather got in for a few weeks, and we retrieved as much as we could, but Sadly, a lot of it disappeared.
You know, I apologize if I forgot, but I would have remembered at the end. But while we're in the thought of it, where can people find you or read any of your articles and books and then anything else?
Well, I have a website. It's a WordPress website, and I think I gave that to you. You can let me give it again here. It's https://wordpress.wordpress.com, and you go there, you'll see some of the articles I've written for different publications and myself, and kind of covers the same party line like I've been giving you. And
so it was I got the WordPress, what was it? WordPress.com 507?
No, you got to be sure where the periods go. It's WordPress.com 507
right.
dot
okay.
WordPress.com, and that'll get you there.
I'm putting it in the chat room so people can take a look. So there it is. All right, good.
What is your conclusions about UFOs? I'd be interested to hear after you say 52 years.
Well, I'm 51.
51.
But
yeah,
I've always been into it. You know, when I was 6, I believe, I'm born in Staten Island, New York, and my father and I were throwing out garbage and saw a red light in the sky and looked around, and the neighbors were out too, and they were looking at it as well. And that was during the big blackout that happened on the East Coast in the 70s.
Oh,
yeah. So, you know, nobody thought UFOs back then. I mean, but as I got older, you know, I thought, well, maybe it had something to do with it, because we did see that red light, and I never forgot about that as a kid. You know, growing up, I've had dreams about being outside in my back. We had an acre, go out in the backyard, and there were UFOs hovering, you know, above the grass, above the pool. And it was weird because earlier you said that they can kind of like change their shape. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with the game Tetris, but they're different blocks, you know, like, rectangles, square, and you try to connect them together to make the row disappear. And anyway, that's what the UFO was shaped like. It was a disc shape, but the skin was made up of these irregular shaped patterns that, for some reason in my mind, and this is a dream I was having, you know, but it could have been real. People are telling me, you know, I've been abducted and interactions with aliens, I don't know. But anyway, in this dream, I remember saying, so that's how you can make yourself smaller. It's really strange that, you know, people see UFOs changing shapes, and I think it's because of the way they're designed. They're designed to do that, and I don't know why, but maybe they are. Who knows? But anyway, as you know, that was when I was 14, 15.
Yeah, that seems to be an age when adolescents, a lot of adolescents at that age, have poltergeist activity, are part of things like possession, typically.
Yeah.
And it seems that that's an adolescent period of your life, puberty, where you're open to different experiences. That's what a lot of metaphysicists and parapsychologists say. So, in fact, that may have happened to that boy in 1949 that was demon possessed, which I investigated. I got a copy of the Exorcist Diary, original copy. Was sent to me by Father Gallagher from the university up in Washington, and that's one thing that wasn't destroyed in my day. So I wrote an article for Fate, the true story behind the Exorcist. And,
okay.
And then wrote about 3 other articles, and so, but that all points up that it's a tender age.
Well, it may be the flood of endorphins and you know, the way your chemicals are being changed. It may trigger the same effect that you get when you take, you know, hallucinogenics and things like that.
Yeah, I think you're onto something.
It might be. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, and they say the same thing as I did when they were 15, 14 years old. I'm like, all right, that's interesting.
That's why UFO sightings or even psychic spiritism sightings or whatever are very personal,
Right.
because they're tied in with the individual's mind.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a sighting, or not a lot of people. I've heard of cases where one person will see a UFO, be looking at it and say, "See it? Look, it's right there," and the other person says, "I don't see a thing."
Yeah, it's happened with me. Yeah, definitely understand.
So they're all clues for the new science, and it's just around the corner. I won't be here anymore. If you can get a good seance going, contact me and let me know.
Oh,
or
yeah.
I'll let you know, okay?
Yeah, you would have to. Yeah, because if we're going in that direction, because that's what Grant Cameron, who used to be, and he says it himself verbatim, I used to be a nuts and bolts guy, but now I'm not too sure. I think it has to do with the astral realm and different dimensions, and he thinks that's where our alien brothers and sisters live.
Well, I think like I said before, I think there's a nuts and bolts aspect to it, but it's so blended with the metaphysical aspect, the nature of the two, and whoever's involved in it are no longer inseparable.
I got you, yeah. Well, that makes sense, actually.
But how do we prove that? I mean, where do we get the hard evidence? And that's what Dave Schroth wants. He wants the hard evidence on a silver platter. And if we can't do that, forget it.
So before we go, I wanted to ask you, how do you think in your mind that disclosure would play out? How would it have to play out for it to be accepted?
Well, like in the movie, what's his name? The general down there in Guatemala Bay. Who was the actor that played him?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh, I should know it. Well, he shot it out in the courtroom. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they would think we can handle the truth. The truth is so far beyond us. We're like microbes in a petri dish.
I kind of feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're our usefulness. And we go out there. We're the slaves that make the bucks for the billionaires, and we live and die. And they play around with it like bacteria in a petri dish. And
so, don't you think we could be them? Do you think that we're actual light beings that are being human just to have the experience of what it's like to be human, and then when we die we go back to our original light form?
I would hope something like that, because in fact David Icke wrote one of his recent books. He kind of, how he dispels everything, and he says you can actually see behind the scene. Behind, and I don't know, he comes on pretty too strong for me.
Yeah, me too.
But if there's got to be a good and a bad, if there's an evil, there's got to be a good, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah, of course. But
and how do we get that funnel into that?
Well, I don't know, but I don't think it would take 70 years since Roswell for that question to be answered. I think they know the answer.
Yeah, well,
it's not fair.
Like Jack Nicholson says, I don't think you can handle the truth.
So, but they can? But I guess masses can't. Yeah, mass of people.
Yeah, they think they're pretty well on the inside with their trillions of dollars and their deep black enterprises. They think they're pretty much in control, and they know what they're going to do and how they want to do it. I'm just sorry that I'm on the outside. Maybe it's going to end up in some good way somehow.
Yeah,
we can always pray and hope.
When we go to the it was like the internet. I can't think of the name. When you go
the cloud.
No, where you would go to read and why can't I think of it?
The Ashkaic record.
The library. I can't think of the name. You get your card. You go in there and you can get books and take them home.
Oh, library.
Oh yeah. You remember we used to have to do all that. Now everything's integrated into the internet.
Yeah, the cloud.
Oh, is that what you meant? Okay. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that could be the beginning of our integration into the aliens. Maybe they integrated, I don't know, somehow. I don't know. I don't, it's hard for me to explain that, but I think since we're all connected now on the internet, I think we're one step away as that being like an implant in our head.
Well, Edgar Casey, remember the clairvoyant Edgar
Yeah,
Casey?
yeah.
He believed in the Ashkaic record. Was a subconscious hall of records uh, that we get a lot of where he was getting a lot of information from, and he didn't know what else. I don't know if he coined the term or if that was Young that coined the term, but it's called the Ashkaic record,
Okay.
the hall of
Yeah.
records.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yep. Well, yeah, I mean, this is such a broad topic with many different branches. I mean, I'm thinking ghosts and spirits are aliens now. I've come to the conclusion that it's possible because if you see grandma, grandpa, or a loved one, well, that could be the alien that was the human. That's my idea of it, but
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. You don't know like Valet says, it's almost like it's a control system that appears to be such and such to some people and differently to other people. And how to get of course, how do people like Dave Schroeder, of course, he doesn't please, it's all hogwash. He's got some big surprises in store for him though. But how do you get behind this all? How do but I'm not going to give up, are you?
heck no. No, but I feel I wish we would have that disclosure, for you, because you've worked long and hard and want to
Yeah.
know the answers. And, we don't live forever. And I realize that, that, and I would just hate it for not to happen. So, but it's not, I don't think disclosure or alien interaction is going to happen at all, ever.
No, a lot of people feel that way, and we just scratched the tip of the soil, Richard. We there's a lot of things that go into like government suppression. We briefly went into
Yeah.
mental control, mind control, and targeted individuals, and there's a lot we can go into. Maybe you can have me back sometime. We'll get into some of that.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say we definitely want to have you back on. I want to thank you for spending a nice hour and a half with us here. We just started talking about it ourselves, and every time it's time to go at that time. So we'll have you back, and thank you very much, Steve, Mr. Erdman. I don't know why I can't call you Steve. I want to keep saying Mr. Erdman out of respect.
Well, thank you.
That was
I
great.
don't hear that much. I guess maybe at the grocery store or the department store.
Well, you should hear it more. I thank you for joining us and giving us some hard-earned wisdom, and I appreciate it. And we'll be back after this message. So you guys hang tight. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
was watching live BBC News coverage of a workers' strike in Hong Kong when he catches what seems to be undeniable evidence of a UFO.
There you go. Look at that. Descending on the top of that building.
The mysterious green light hangs around the top of a building for only moments before shooting straight up into the sky. This footage was taken directly from the television screen and seems very hard, if not impossible, to fake. Right now, people are mostly debating if the light is too big to be a quadcopter drone. I guess it could be a drone, but if not, I think this very well may be a legitimate alien UFO sighting. Number 4. This live recording was shot somewhere in the country of Turkey. The news report itself starts out normally enough until a bystander notices an object in the distance and points it out to the rest. A group soon gathers around to gawk at what appears to be a large amount of UFOs in the sky. The fact that the video ends before anything else happens makes me think that it could be fake, or maybe an electronic disturbance jammed the cameras. If anyone in Turkey knows more about this video, please let me know. Number 3. Many people routinely watch NASA's space streams in hopes of catching a glimmer of extraterrestrial life. One such observer noticed an odd moment on the NASA stream in January of 2016 and decided to call them out on it. It's impossible to deny that a tiny, fast-moving speck definitely zoomed across the background twice. Tell me if you think the astronaut was trying to cover something up with his hand, or if that was just a coincidence. I definitely want to hear from anyone who has seen other similar things on a NASA feed as well. Number 2. A large storm in Oklahoma is nothing special, but the 2 UFOs caught during a live television broadcast in April of 2017 definitely are.
As it moves off to the northeast, we've had reports of hail up to the size of 3/4 of an inch.
2 plump dots in the distance move around in patterns that defy the natural laws of physics. The UFOs appear to start and stop in tiny bursts, and when you look closely, you can see a trail of light beneath them as they move towards the sky. Many people suspect that this is either extraterrestrial aircraft or else some sort of advanced rocket propulsion technology that the general public does not know about. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram
Chills is on
Dylan
pills.
is Chillin' YT and tap that follow button to find out. I'm currently doing a super poll on my Instagram. If you believe ghosts are real, then go to my most recent photo and tap the like button. If you don't, DM me saying why. When you're done, come right back to this video to find out the number 1 entry. Also, follow me on Twitter at YTChills because that's where I post video updates. It's a proven fact that generosity makes you a happier person. So if you're generous enough to hit that subscribe button and the bell beside it, then thank you. This way you'll be notified of the new videos I upload every Thursday and Sunday.
I think it sounds good. It sounds professional.
In 2004, this UFO was spotted flying west of San Diego over the water. 2 high-tech fighter jets immediately took pursuit. Later, one of them would describe what they saw as a 40-foot-long tic-tac with no wings. What you just saw wasn't declassified until 13 years later by the Department of Defense in 2017. All major news networks have verified this tape, so I can honestly say it's 100% real.
Well, if there's like anything,
it's rotating.
The Pentagon had a secret $22 million UFO research program.
The Pentagon pushed a button. You know, when I first heard that guy talking, I thought, how freaking annoying. But after a while, I kind of like it. It wouldn't be the same. Chills is Chills. Chills is one of us, believe it or not. Chills is a good guy. Don't ask me how I know, but I know. How about Steve Erdman, 74 years old, coming on GUFON Radio? I was a great guy, man. And we were chit-chatting after the show, or after the interview for a couple of minutes. That's why there wasn't any sound. because he was still jacked into the Matrix here at GUFON Radio. I hate when people talk like that. Welcome to the dungeon. I've got my coffee, my tea. I think I got all my teeth. Yeah, I do got all the teeth. One thing I don't like about these dentures, and they're going to have to adjust them, is sometimes, I don't know, they get dry. It's not like real teeth. And I noticed that if I smile, my lip goes like this. How you doing, sweetheart? And, you know, sometimes you'll see me messing around with my lips because my teeth they're not slick and smooth, so your gum just falls right over. It's kind of sticky. Yeah, man. I mean, they're in there. I mean, I can't. It takes a good effort to pull these suckers out now. So, you know, I noticed one thing before I keep talking about my teeth, because I know I get those wonderful messages of people telling me to stop talking about my teeth. That's going to happen. That's okay. Now I forgot what I was going to say. I was pulling them out, having a hard time pulling them out. Forget it. Doesn't matter. So I forgot about my teeth. Oh, that was great. That was a good time. Man, he could, I was shocked that he did not know about the MUFON thing. Shocked about that. I wanted to have an intense discussion about Chase Klotsky. Yes, you heard it on Spaced Out Radio probably yesterday or the day before, that Chase Klotsky quit MUFON. Do you know what that means? You know what that means? That Philip Leach was right. All those letters he was putting out. It's the truth. Why else would Chase Klotsky resign? Because that's what people who lie do. They run. Bye-bye. See you later. Thank you for giving evidence to Luisa Elizondo. We appreciate that. Chase, great job. Way to be dedicated to the cause of MUFON. Excellent work. Phenomenal. What a great representative for MUFON, Chase. So happy. So happy. And you know, and you know what now? You know why there's not a lot of women, and I'm going to get hit over the head, in ufology. You guys, we can't have that sexual tension. I'm sure Luis Elizondo and Chase were playing googly eyes, and all of a sudden he's like, come on, doll. You know you got that medal I want. And she's like, oh, Lou, come on, baby. You know you got it. Give me that medal. She's like, oh, Lou, I know you got medal. Girl, what'd you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Chase, you want me to chase you around this table? Oh, Lou, can I call you Lou? You can call me anything. You can call me Ray. You can call me Jay. You can call me at midnight. It's okay. You got that medal, baby? Oh, Lou, you know I got the medal. We cannot have, think about this, it's 99% male-dominated ufology. Right? How many women? I think I got 3 women. Yeah, who else you know? Maybe 5. 5 women. Whatever it is, it's 99% male. Even if it's 90% male. 10% women. You can see what happens. This is why women in ufology can't be. Can't. It's either all women or all men. And I'm not trying to be sexist, and I don't give a shit if you think I am, but this is the problem you have when you have high tension of sexual drive. You know Luis Elizondo. Come on. Look, the guy's got a pussy on his chin. You don't think he wants a real one? Like a live one? Wait, that doesn't make sense. Well, he's got that thing. How do we go from Stephen Erdman to this conversation? It's beyond me. Well, I'm going to do a celebratory bump. I did it backwards. I waited 1 hour and 43 minutes for that. Can't do too much. I'll be telling you guys secrets that I haven't told in a long time. But yeah, Chase had to quit. And I'm very happy about that. Matter of fact, I was going to read the article, but I don't give a shit. Actually, it's a nice article, which is on Spaced Out Radio. I believe Dave wrote it. Let's take a look here. You bastard. Do we really need to read it? I don't think we need to read it. I'm kind of curious now. I want to see why she quit. I know why. I'm making believe I don't know. Shh. It'll be okay. Tomorrow, yes, I am doing a show tomorrow. Thank you for asking. Thursday and Friday. Now, tomorrow's show was supposed to be yesterday's show. All right. But it ain't. Okay? Yesterday, as you know, man, I can't tell you how weird it was, what happened to the dog. But I know people, you don't want to hear about that. But it was bizarre. And I'm going to tell you anyway, I don't care. I couldn't do the show yesterday because a few hours, actually, it was 4 o'clock. It was 3 hours before the show. Or was it 4? God, you see, I can't remember. I think it was 3 o'clock. You know, I feed the dog and I give him his insulin. And he was fine. I mean, he's been doing really good considering what he's been through this year. So I give him his insulin. He eats. He's looking at me. He's, doing this. He's juking me. I'm like, you want to go out? And he's like, yeah, I want to go out. So he stands by the front door until I open it. I take him out for a walk. Come back in. Put him down on the ground because I have to carry him in. It's a long story. And I take off the leash, and all of a sudden he starts turning his head and walking to one side. And he's like tripping over his feet. I'm like, immediately I thought, oh my God, he's dying. I thought he was having a heart attack or something because I've seen him act weird before, but not like this. I've seen him collapse. He'll get low on the ground, and then he stopped breathing twice before and died. Came back to life twice. Now, there was no heartbeat. I actually called my mother at 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning and said, Angus is dead. I was in bad shape. I go, he's dead. I'm not going to be able to live without him, da-da-da. And all of a sudden, and she goes, is he breathing? I go, no heartbeat, Ma, he's dead. I go, there's nothing. I was lifting up his gums, trying to make everything was just dead. He wasn't moving. So I'm petting him, and then all of a sudden, he gets up and wanted to freaking play. So yesterday, I take the leash off, and he starts turning his head, walking in circles, tripping over himself, and he falls on the floor, and all of a sudden throws up. And he just ate. So I pick him up, and he's hopping on one leg, going around in circles. His eyes looked fine. He looked like he was focused. He didn't look like he was dying, but his body was freaking out. And I'm trying to hold him up, and I'm trying to keep him in place, and he keeps wanting to go to the right. And I'm like, no, stay still. And he kept wanting to move, and if I let go of him, he would just flop over, like his head was spinning or something. So he threw up again. He threw up 5 times. He threw up the 5th time he threw up. There was more food than the first time he threw up. And I'm talking a little 25-pound dog, maybe this size of throw up. That's a lot. But he did just eat. So I'm trying to recall what happened. What did he eat something? Was it the insulin? And then I remembered when he did pass out one time, I was walking him outside, and all of a sudden the leash got tight and he wasn't walking. He was on the ground trying to walk on his side, peeing. And he was peeing all over himself, you know. And I picked him up and he was still peeing. I didn't care. And I took him home, and that was when he died in my arms the first time. So I thought he had died. Same thing, he popped up, and that was after I fed him and gave him the insulin. I go online when this happened last time, and something can happen, I forget the name of it, where if for some reason, I don't know what it's called, but their hind legs give out. And I don't know why, but it's a sign something's wrong neurologically. Well, I think yesterday, and I checked his blood sugar, was so low that when I gave him his shot, I dropped his blood sugar or whatever. It was so bad that he kind of went into like a diabetic shock, I think. Took him to the vet. They don't know. They said it looks like he's having some sort of neurological issue because he keeps twitching. But his back legs are shaking. They're like he's cold, you know, like this. It wasn't cold. He's old, and they couldn't figure it out. And today I brought him back. When I woke up this morning, he was 100% awesome. When I got home last night after the vet, they said he's going to live. It looks like he's recovering from whatever it was. Maybe he ate something and threw it up. I said, no, man. Now, I wanted to videotape it happening, but I couldn't. I thought it was disrespectful to the dog, but it would have been good evidence to get for the vet, I guess. So, but, you know, I'm thinking my dog is dying. I don't want to record my dog's death and relive it whenever I want to. So I didn't. You know, there's some things you just don't do. But he's doing much better. Like, I'd have to say he's about 90%. And thank you all for, you know, the well wishes and prayers and whatever else we do. Whatever you pray to, you know, whatever. I appreciate it. And he's over here sleeping. Oh, he must have jumped down. He's at my feet. So, you know, when animals die, especially dogs and cats, I read this because I'm at that age where he's about to die, they disassociate themselves with their owner. They want to go and die, basically. They want to be left alone. There was 5 signs I saw that your dog is on his last days. He's got all 5 of them. Well, I shouldn't say that. He's got 4 of the 5 because he doesn't distance himself from me. So he still wants to be by me and sit by me. And today he doesn't. He's just, you know, can't see too good, can't hear too good, can't walk too good. He's diabetic. But he still wants to play tug of war. He still wants to, you know, bite my hand or lick my face. So it would be really painful that if I had to put him down, if he still feels that way. You know, but if he's in pain, I don't want, you know, when dogs shake like that, it's either they're cold or they're in pain. They don't show pain. Not even by whimpering. You would think the dog would whimper. My dog has bad teeth. He's not. When his teeth were bad, he was shaking. He stopped shaking. He's not. He's fine now. So, live another day, I guess. So, if for some reason the show, like, I don't know how I'm going to be when I have to do that, but there will not be a show for at least a week when he passes. So I know me. I won't work. I refuse. I don't care if I get fired. I don't care what I'm doing. I already told my parents, I go, when the dog dies, no matter what job I have, I am not going to work. I could be fired. My mother goes, I totally understand. So let's hope that day isn't soon. But if he made it to Christmas, if he made it to the end of summer, I'd be surprised. But anyway. I'm not working right now. So Bardell, producer in the chat, said, damn, take a few days off, spend some time with him, play tug of war, all he wants. I do. Yeah, I'm not working. I mean, I'm trying to find a job. I'm having a hard time getting connected to one. So the last 3 weeks, I have been giving it my all, let's put it that way. But he's a boy. And he's never been one to like cuddle. Like you can't hold him in your arms and he'll fall asleep. That's not him. Never was. He likes to lay next to you. He's like a man's man. He doesn't want to go to the vet. He's like, vet, I'll just spit these teeth out, Dad. Kidding me? Vet. Pooey. I don't need these teeth. Diabetes. Fuck insulin. I don't need no insulin. Tell me I'm in pain. Forget about it. It's been a tough week, man. Tough week. Tough 2 days. That's the thing. I don't have any children. So he's my second. My first pet was a cat. I got it when 2 cats. Actually, 1, and then we got another one together. So I had 2 cats. I had 1 cat that lived to 17. And if I had the money back then, he'd probably still be alive today. I never took the cat to the vet once. That was Bosco. All black cat. But this is my first dog that I could call my dog. So there was a connection from day one. I've had him since 8 weeks. And it's my kid. And I believe pets, dogs are better than people because it's unconditional. I do not have a relationship. I choose not to be in a relationship. And I don't think I will ever be in a relationship from this point out. I've had enough to last 2 lifetimes. I'm done with it. I'll have relations, but relationship, no. Not in the mood. I see the hottest girl. And and sometimes when they're into you. I don't respond. I don't care. I am not getting involved. And I always find something wrong. I'm like, nope, not going with it. I don't like her attitude. What do you mean? She was kidding. Yeah, I didn't like it. Don't care. I just do not want the headache. I am not a relationship guy. I think most guys are not relationship guys. Guys and girls, we're not supposed to be together. You know what I mean? People. Like, guys can hang out and women can hang out by themselves. But why is it that we have to have this relationship status? You know what I mean? Can't we just do what we want to do with each other? I guess we can't because women want that relationship. Men don't. I know that. And guys, I'm going to tell you something deep down. And for the women who are listening, listen up. Remember that book, He's Not That Into You? It's true. Now, guys, we fall in lust. We really do. It's all about lust. But after a while, and I'm not just saying it's me, all my married friends, they're like, bro, if I did it again, I would be in your position. I would not have kids. I would not be married. I tried the married thing out. I knew it wasn't for me after the first month. Heck, I even think I knew when I proposed I shouldn't have proposed. Hell, I even might have said, don't do it, as I'm doing it. Not kidding you. I knew I shouldn't have been doing it when I did it. And I think a lot of guys get in that. They feel like they have to because it's the thing to do. Got to get married. Got to have a kid. Oh, my wife was the same way. She's like a dude. She was like a dude. She says, I'm not marrying material. She was already divorced with a guy named Rich. Yeah. No, she wasn't the one that, she wasn't that type that would scream out the name and I wouldn't know what Rich it was. She wasn't that, let's say, explorer. She didn't explore. I need an explorer. I need somebody who thinks like me. There's nobody out there. And men, sorry to ruin it for you. And I know you're going to say to yourself right now, no, I enjoy being with my wife. I really, truly love her. Yeah, you might. I felt that way about some people that I were with 3, 4, 5 years. But for some reason, it didn't work out. For whatever reason, that's the thing. Men aren't supposed to be tied down. This is just me talking here. Men want to go out and meet as many women as possible and have as much fun as possible. It's how we think when we're young. I'm 51. I think the same exact way I did when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21 through 51. I get it. But I realized long ago, relationships aren't for me. Well, I shouldn't say long ago. No, I knew it. Even when I was in relationships, I shouldn't have been in a relationship. I always knew it. And we would argue, and it was all my fault. It was all me. Because I didn't want to be in a relationship, looking for ways to get out of it. And I wouldn't cheat because I thought it was disrespectful. And back then, we had to worry about AIDS more than we did now. So I wasn't sleeping around. But I did get in trouble for flirting and, things that are all but. But I'm telling you, women, if you have a guy and you're married to him, and he says he loves you, he does. But he just doesn't want to be with you. He wants to be downstairs. Remember in the old days? You know, now men have their, what do they call it? What do they call that room? No, what do they call it when they have their own room? What do they call that? Their man cave, right? You know what my dad's man cave was? The house. The house was his man cave. Are you kidding me? Now you get designated to one room? What kind of world is this? Oh my God, how have times changed. If my dad came home and my mom said, go to your man cave, my dad would have said, who are you talking to? He's like, not talking to me. Yeah, that would have been funny. Oh, God. It's funny how things change over time. But the one thing that stays constant is that your man doesn't want to be with you. He loves you. He just has a guilty conscience. Meanwhile, he's out there flirting with everybody. I'm telling you. Rich, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. I was a very good boyfriend and a very good husband. But one thing I did all the time was flirt, because you always want to make sure you still got it. Well, you just disrespected your wife. Yeah, I guess I did. She was doing it too. But it was okay. We knew it. You know, when you get into your mid-30s, and if you're not a jealous person, you understand flirting is part of business. That's life. But, you know, sometimes you can close a deal and you want to take it, but you can't. Changes everything. Because you don't know what you're getting into. I was always smart that way. I said, if I have sex with this woman, she could be a psychopath. She may stalk me. She may follow me home. Forget it. I would think that all the time. It's just not worth it. So, it wasn't AIDS that I was scared of. I was scared of the boiling the rabbit in the big pot on the stove. Well, where else would you boil it? I don't know why I got into talking about that. But men and women, we're not supposed to be together. We're supposed to procreate, and that's it. As a matter of fact, we're getting there. We're on our way. Oh, and I also wanted to talk about, and this makes me very angry, like you wouldn't believe, and I'm mad at a lot of people right now because of this twit, Jussie Smollett, getting off. They dropped all the charges, all 19 counts, all criminal. Guys, I don't want to talk about this for an hour, but I can't tell you how wrong this is on every fucking level. Every level. Everybody's talking about it. He gets off for almost causing a race riot and hate for Donald Trump. There's enough of that, but now they're saying he may not have even been in a fight. That the calls to those Nigerian brothers, he called them before and after he supposedly got in a fight with these guys. They think the fight never happened. You know, he cut himself or whatever. You could tell. The cops aren't stupid. The Nigerian brothers are going to be waiting outside randomly during winter, -10 degrees in Chicago with the wind, standing in front of his hotel room, hoping he's going to walk outside at any time during the 24-hour clock. And Jesse wearing the rope around his neck for 90 minutes, waiting for the cops to come. Nobody does that. Not a victim, not a real victim. Goes on national television, does the interview with what's her name? And because she's gay too, you know, she doesn't ask or push on the hard questions. And I understand that because at the time, people thought that story was real. And I understand why she was throwing softballs to him. I get it. It's not easy in America to be gay. Matter of fact, in a lot of the world, but in America, it sucks. And if you're a minority, it sucks as well. And I can't apologize for everybody, but I apologize for everybody. It sucks. But he should not have been let go. He is going to get away with it scot-free. Yep. He's friends with Kamala Harris. He's friends with the Clintons. He's friends with Obama. Hey, you know, you can pay to get your kids into college too. If you're a rich celebrity. Well, they go hand in hand, I guess, right? I'm going to pull up a video for you. I'm going to play this. And this has to do with what happened with Jussie Smollett. I can't stand the guy. I really can't stand this person. I can't tell you the level of disgust I have for this. Not because he's gay or because he's black, but because of what he did. It's awful. And he's getting away with it. You know what I mean? It really is. Sooner or later, we're going to get to know the whole reason why. There's got to be something. See, here's what I think. I think the Democrats put him up to it. I think the whole thing was set up. And he was part of it. And you know what? And if it would have worked, and it might have worked, I don't know if it did. But if it did, it's almost as if he was guaranteeing himself a seat as senator, governor, somewhere in our government after his acting career ends. Because I put a tweet up, and I said, boycott Empire because of Jussie Smollett. Not one response, not one retweet. I find that literally impossible with that title. I didn't see any other tweets that were saying that. I think Twitter is blocking that kind of tweet. I usually get replies, or a look at, or a heart, or a retweet. But this, I put this tweet out when it happened. Because I'm not working, I got the news when it happened. And you'd think I would have a ton of retweets and people commenting. None. Here we go.
Tonight, just hours ago, prosecutors in Chicago dropped all charges against actor Jussie Smollett. Smollett, you'll remember, was facing 16 felony counts
16
for faking an elaborate
Turn up the volume
against himself back in January.
Nothing I can do.
Police say Smollett hired 2 Nigerian bodybuilders to hang a noose around his neck, pour bleach on him, and scream, "This is MAGA country!" Because that kind of thing happens a lot in downtown Chicago during the winter months. Smollett then told credulous reporters he had been assaulted by 2 white racist Trump supporters. Well, as of tonight, police still believe that Smollett was lying about all that. So do prosecutors. They think he concocted the hoax, and they said so yet again today. And yet the state of Illinois is somehow, for some reason, dumping the case anyway. In exchange for the $100,000 he has already paid in bond, Smollett will walk free. His record will be expunged. Everything will return to normal, like it never happened.
Oh, check it out.
Smollett described this decision as a victory, not just for him, but for the broader cause of civil rights.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one. I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of. This has been an incredibly difficult time, honestly one of the worst of my entire life. But I am a man of faith, and I'm a man that has knowledge of my history, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't. Now I'd like nothing more than to just get back to work and move on with my life. But make no mistakes, I will always continue to fight for the justice, equality, and betterment of marginalized people everywhere.
Okay, a couple of pretty obvious questions here. What is this movement Smollett refers to? Is he in contact with other perpetrators of fake hate crimes? Have they formed a union?
There you go.
Will they hold a convention? There are enough of them they could. And how exactly has Smollett, who last we checked was an actor on a TV show, fought for the, quote, justice, equality, and betterment of marginalized people everywhere? Was pouring bleach on himself part of that fight? How do the noose and the Nigerian bodybuilders figure into Smollett's struggle for justice and equality? And by the way, why aren't the rest of us laughing at this? It is just too absurd. CNN doesn't think it's funny. They're taking Jussie Smollett very seriously, as they always have. Jeff Zucker's tiny spokesman emerged this afternoon to declare the whole thing an unfathomable mystery of faith, like the Shroud of Turin. We may never know.
The narrative has once again changed from victim, to villain, back to victim. It's been very confusing. As Ryan was saying, people don't know what to believe, and we may never really know what happened.
Just because the charges were dropped doesn't mean he was innocent. I'm telling you what happened. The charges were dropped because he's friends with what I said earlier. Obamas, the Clintons, Kamala Harris. B. Baker's saying it in the chat room for me as well. For himself, for you guys. And friends with judges. The judge that dropped the charges, friends with him and his family, I think. I could be wrong. I think it'll be in this video. Something like that. I'm telling you, this was a failed attempt by the Democrats. And I think it has to do with Trump. I think it's to start not only a race war, but a hate war towards gay people. And blame it on Trump, because Trump's a racist and a homophobe. And you know what? I looked all over for that evidence of Trump. I haven't seen it. Putting a wall up does not mean you're racist. Sexist, just because he said one sentence about grabbing a woman's private parts, that's locker room talk between guys that was recorded. It's just the way guys talk and brag. Okay? That doesn't mean he's sexist. It means he thinks women are great for having sex with. He loves women. And he's surprised that women would allow him to grab their junk. Their junk. Their lady curves, whatever. I think this is a Democratic move. And I think it's one of the worst things I've seen. And he is definitely not a victim. Now, he may be a victim of circumstances. Look, this story is going to play out, and it's only going to get crazier. I'm telling you, this guy's weak. This is a weak individual, very weak. That's why he couldn't pull off the lie. He's got too many things going on. He's probably got a big heart and probably was the wrong guy to go through with this. But they took a chance on him of all people. I don't know why. Maybe they've asked other people and everybody said no. But if he pulled this off, it's a lifetime of riches, secrets, and things you can't imagine. And I'm not sure if one day we'll be reading about him in another way. And that may be bad. That would be sad. You don't want to see anybody taken out that way. But he is like the guy, who was the guy who shot Kennedy at the book depository? Was it Suppository? The book Suppository. He's like Lee Harvey Oswald.
On the street that night in Chicago.
We may never really know. So it looks like we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this whole Jussie Smollett thing. But wait.
Is he doing a Richie from Boston?
They should have some free time.
That was Richie from Boston.
But wait, does anyone know any news reporters? They should have some free time these days, post-Russia hysteria. Maybe they could find out more about this. For example, why isn't Jussie Smollett concerned about the two white racists he says attacked him? Shouldn't he be leading the charge to lock these villains up?
Right.
According to Smollett, they're still on the loose. They're free to assault other hapless biracial TV actors who are just looking to get a Subway sandwich at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Just like
in the streets of
OJ.
Chicago. And we need to stop them before they do.
Got to get the real killers.
And what about the Chicago Police Department? It's led by an African-American chief, but that doesn't mean it's not part of the wider racist conspiracy. It must be. Chicago cops just framed Jussie Smollett as a liar and destroyed his reputation. And yet, for some reason, Smollett doesn't seem to care about that. He says he just wants to, quote, move on. That's odd. And what about the Nigerian brothers? Last month, both CNN and the Chicago Tribune reported the men had told police they'd rehearsed the attack on Jussie Smollett.
Wow.
Was that a lie? Will Smollett sue them now for defamation? Other news outlets reported that police discovered rope, bleach, and masks in the brothers' apartment. Apparently, Smollett's phone records show he was talking to the brothers immediately before and immediately after the attack, he alleged.
What's that about?
What was that all about? Well, we could go on and on, but why bother? You know exactly what's happening here. Smollett isn't getting off because he's innocent. He's not innocent. He's something better than innocent. He's famous. The charges against him were dropped because someone in power called someone else in power and said, let him go. None of this had anything to do with justice. It's the opposite of justice. Even in famously corrupt Chicago, what was happening was just too obvious. The mayor and the chief of police pretended to be very shocked by it.
If you want to say you're innocent of a situation, then you take your day in court. I would never, if someone falsely accused me, I would never hide behind a brokered deal and secrecy, period.
Where is the accountability in the system? You cannot have, because of a person's position, one set of rules apply to them, and another set of rules apply to everybody else.
Amazing. The freaking mayor is dissing the judge and the justice system, saying that I guess the rules don't apply to just regular people anymore. Rich people get away with it, famous people, but you know, people like me and you, I can't believe it that this is huge.
Else. In another way, you're seeing this play out in the universities, where people pay extra to get their kids a special position in universities. This is a whitewash of justice.
A whitewash of justice. So how did the state's attorney who dropped these charges answer that? Well, she issued a statement explaining that the charges against Jussie Smollett were dropped in part because of his, quote, volunteer service in the community.
Oh, my God.
What exactly was that service? Well, according to a news account tonight, Smollett spent a total of 18 hours over 2 days at Jesse Jackson's lobbying organization, the Rainbow Push Coalition. While he was there, Smollett spent his time, and this is a direct quote, stuffing membership envelopes, working in the group's bookstore to sell merchandise, and critiquing its Saturday broadcast. He also, quote, worked with the music director on a plan to build the choir. Apparently, the community was greatly enriched by all of this. We should note that Jesse Jackson, who runs it, is one of the most politically powerful people in the city of Chicago.
God.
It helps to have friends like that. And if you don't believe it, just go ahead and try it yourself. Go ahead and stage a fake hate crime in which you slander an entire group of people on the basis of their skin color and political beliefs.
First of all, and I'm not joking, I should do that. I should make a video and make believe that I got attacked and see what happens. A straight white guy, and I won't put rope around my neck. I'll put duct tape around my eyes or my forehead, something, you know, silly. Or maybe duct tape around my neck. Or maybe a rope. Maybe I should do a rope, but I don't know, maybe make it a rainbow rope. And then I'll have my Subway. I actually have my Subway sandwich in the refrigerator. I had gift certificates from my birthday in March. Oh my God. I'm surprised I haven't seen any videos like that. I would love to do that. Call the police, say it happened. This really happened. I was beat up by two white guys that they called me a straight broke man. And then they poured water on me, right? And they put duct tape around my freaking neck. My sandwich I don't know. I think they ate part of it. Why would they just do that to me? All I was doing, I was going to go to Walmart, but the restaurants were closed, right? I was walking across the street. You know, it was a nice day. It was 80 degrees. And I don't know why they were waiting for me, I guess. I don't know. But they were yelling, Democrats are winners. Republicans are losers. This is not MAGA country. And they were wearing white hats. And it said Dems on it. Why? I've done nothing to nobody. I'm just a single white dude with white privilege. Why would my own race do this to me? I don't know. I'm a nice guy. I don't even get into relationships with women because I know it's a waste of their time, not mine. Anyway.
Then head over to Good Morning America and conduct a tearful interview with the sympathetic Robin Roberts. Describe yourself as a victim of systemic racism in this country. And then get caught doing it. Tell us how you do. Then let us know when the visiting hours are. We'll come see you in prison. Spot's not going to prison. He was smarter than that. He knew he would never be punished. He knows Jesse Jackson. He's friends with Kamala Harris and Barack and Michelle Obama. Don Lemon at CNN texts Jussie all the time on his cell phone and brags about it. Jussie Smollett may claim to fight for marginalized people, but he is not one of them. In fact, he occupies the highest rank of privilege in our society. He's above the law. Increasingly, there seem to be quite a few people like that in this country. You'll recognize them because they're the ones always lecturing you about how bigoted and unfair America is. What they don't understand is that they are proving that point.
What's this?
Did Michelle Obama's office have a role in shutting the Jussie Smollett case down? Now follow me here. Just days after Smollett reported his alleged hate crime to police, and the Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx tried to persuade Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson to turn the investigation over to the FBI. Now, the request came after Foxx received this text, according to the Chicago Sun-Times, from Tina Chen, a Chicago attorney and former chief of staff for former First Lady Michelle Obama. Quote, I wanted to give you a call on behalf of Jussie Smollett and family, who I know. They have concerns about the investigation.
My God.
Shortly after that, a Smollett family member reached out to Foxx, having been given her number by Obama's former assistant. Well, Foxx then replied in a text message that she, quote, spoke to the superintendent and that she was, quote, trying to figure out logistics. The relative then replied, OMG, this would be a huge victory, referring to the FBI taking over the case. Foxx then texted, I make no guarantees, but I'm trying. This is so great. So let me get this straight. The top prosecutor at the office that ultimately decided not to prosecute Smollett was actively seeking to help the defendant.
Look at the picture.
And this was all set in motion by Michelle Obama's former chief of staff.
Unbelievable.
Well, the Chicago Police Union is calling for a federal investigation into Fox's handling of the Smollett case. Here now is Tim Grace.
This is going to be unbelievable over the next few months.
And former assistant state's attorney in Cook County, and a man who has been on the case from the very beginning, Fox 32's Chicago anchor and reporter Rafer Weigel.
TTSA
Rafer,
country.
I wanna start with you. You're hearing from sources
That's awesome.
that believe Miss Fox never actually really recused herself. Now, why do they think that?
Well, because this would not have been handed down without Kim Foxx's blessing. There's no way that the deputy state's attorney would have done this without her involvement. This is her office. And the big question is, why would she do this? She created a deep divide between the Chicago Police Department and the mayor, who's on his way out, and the state's attorney's office. So what did she gain out of this? And that's why your theory is not that far-fetched. Either one of two things happened. Either she didn't think she was going to win the case, and she feared the optics of losing this case would make her look like a Marcia Clark,
Oh,
which
that's right.
younger viewers might have to Google that, or she secured some kind of political favor that she's going to collect down the road. It is no secret that Kim Foxx has higher political aspirations than this office. But
Oh,
we'll
my
never
God.
know because they're not talking about why they actually did it. They just said, this is not abnormal. This is done all the time. I can tell you this is not done all the time. The fact that they did not contact the mayor or the superintendent, Eddie Johnson, before doing this,
They were
they're furious.
blindsided. They were. I've never
Completely.
seen anything like this, guys. I've been doing media stuff for like 23 years. I've never seen anything like what happened today. And Tim, I have to go to you here. You got a manual coming out. You got the police superintendent coming. They were loaded for bear, these guys. They felt like this was an unfair throwing this out in the public on the public consciousness without so much as a heads up.
Right.
How could this possibly happen if it weren't for some outside force coming in here and tweaking
It's the
the
craziest
system or
thing.
nudging the system?
Yeah, absolutely, Laura. I think it's amazing. Every single day I represent Chicago police officers, men and women, and I am humbled by their dedication and courage. And then to have them go out, do the heavy lifting in this city, to go and run towards the bullets, not away from the bullets, and then to have this happen under some theory of restorative justice, it is absolutely causing a lot of angst amongst many Chicago police officers.
Well, there might actually be conflict, Rafer, within the prosecutor's office itself, because someone signed off on this Jussie Smollett working at Operation Rainbow Push as his community service. He was stuffing envelopes for them, I guess. So he did that for a couple of days, or 12 hours or something like that. 18 hours. Sorry,
16
I want to
hours.
give him full
I mean, I'm getting livid just looking at this picture. Now, what is he? Some sort of hero? Is that why they just didn't warn us that this was going to happen? They literally, it was a breaking news story, and all of a sudden, Jussie Smollett, charges dropped. Nobody said these charges might be dropped in the next coming day or two. There's a word that's going around that the FBI might take over, but we're hearing, no, none of that. Just they dropped all charges. And that's because Yolanda, whatever her name is, has a political future and sees things that could get in the way if she prosecuted him. I don't know, man. We'll find out in the next coming weeks and months. I mean, this is something that's going to last another year. So we'll be back on top. The reason I like talking about this story is because I understand it. That's the only reason. It's the only reason. I understand it. I get everything. I don't know why. I just... you want to talk about something else, we could do that. But for some reason, I find this hysterical and annoying at the same time. It's all about Trump. It's all about trying to get people to hate Trump, blame Trump for it. That's all it was. In my opinion, that's what I think it was. All right. So now I didn't plan on any Secure Team 10 or Richie from Boston tonight. But because tomorrow's show is going to be different, I won't be doing these videos tomorrow. Secure Team 10 hasn't done anything in 5 days. God, I hope it's bad. Should I be saying that? Oh, post-disclosure world. I can't. Richie from Boston. Now, I did see some interesting news, and this is for our good friend Dave at Spaced Out Radio. Next Thursday, he's going to have George Knapp on the show. George Knapp is going to be a guest on Spaced Out Radio next Thursday. So this show will be live. We're gonna ride the coattails of Dave's show. We're gonna call it the pre-show nap show. I'm gonna steal. No, I wouldn't do that to Dave. Anybody else, yes, but not Dave. I would like to, but I'm sure he's gonna be doing something, so we don't want to take away from Dave. That's not right. But I will be doing a show nonetheless, and it'll be about George Knapp going on Spaced Out. Okay, Richie from Boston went absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston, and I've only been home from the road for about a week or so, and if you remember when I was on the road, I made a video and I was talking about this. I'm pulled over right now. I had to make something to eat. I just passed into another time zone. You see that? Mountain house, baby.
He can't keep his tongue in his mouth, right? The whole time it's always hanging out. Honestly.
You see that?
See? Hey, little infants do that. You right? Don't they? Their head bow. and the parents gotta clean up the baby and and all the schnotz. It's what I feel like we're getting when we watch Richie from Boston. No.
Mountain House, baby. I don't stop at fancy restaurants. Speaking of Mountain House, the word has just come out that Wise Foods, Wise makes they make freeze-dried survival prepper food, and it just came out that they are handing over all their customers' names and information to the government. Now, that bummed a lot of people out. Now, if you followed me since the beginning of the channel, you know that I use this stuff all the time. So what can you do? Check this out.
So, when you think about this guy, you can just make your own assessment here. So here's his resume. Flat earther. Okay. Now, some of these things I believe too, but we're just going to go and name them off. I don't believe this one, that G5 that's going to be rolled out is to get our minds melded for G6 when it comes out. No, not that conspiracy. I do believe we went to the moon. I don't believe we went 6 times. But Richie says we never went there. Can't get above the firmament. He believes in that. He also believes that there's no stars. You'll see there's no space. NASA is still being run by Nazis. I mean, this guy believes in everything conspiracy. It's crazy. It just comes from the lack of education. Like we've proven before, he doesn't do any research because you can debunk his theories, most of them right away. But anyway, I just wanted to stop it there. I mean, is he trying to look prophetic or old? I don't know. But I don't like these. A chick told him this looks good on him. It doesn't. He needs to go with thin, like wire or no. You know what I mean? Like just up here and have the lenses drawn. That's what he needs. He needs to open up his face more. He's closing it off and it looks chubbier than he is. He needs to get rid of these. And this doesn't do any help either. He needs to wear all black up here if he's going to do that. And one that's tightly fitted. And this, it's not a bad thing for him. It's good because it covers up the jowls. But that's just me. I digest.
These guys actually follow 5 years in storage for real. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's not in my nature. But it turns out I'm kind of a hippie. I just didn't realize it. I love nature. I love outdoors. If I'm in the middle of nowhere.
It took him 50 years to decide he's a hippie now. He loves the outdoors. He's a hippie. I love the outdoors. Because, anybody who loves the outdoors is a hippie.
And I see trash, I'll put it in my pockets and carry it out.
I saw a hefty bag of trash. I fit it into my pockets because I wear one of those cargo pants,
and they call them they call them go pants. Because you know how they have, like if there's a major disaster and you can grab your go pack and grab your backpack and get out. I'm wearing the pants version. So I could wear, 5 hefty bags can fit inside these zippers. I'm not kidding, I swear.
I don't dig patchouli. I don't dig the people at Whole Foods, so forth and so on. But his wife gave him a...
I'm so sorry the audio is low. Every video he does, they're getting lower and lower. Because he doesn't use a microphone. He just uses the camera's microphone.
Gift certificate to a primitive skills class. And I was helping my neighbor yesterday make a fire with 2 sticks. The bow, the stick on the ground.
We were just trying to make a fire with 2 sticks because we didn't know that matches are made for making fire. And I didn't know fire was all over. I didn't know. I thought you had to wait for a thunderstorm to grab the tree from the lightning, or you rub two sticks together. I didn't know you could use... Did you ever hear of a thing called flares? I know.
No matches. It was badass, and it worked, and I got it all on video. And yesterday I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I don't go looking for topics. Topics come to me. When I make a video, it's because it came to me. You can believe that or not. It's your call. It doesn't matter. So, there's that.
All right, let's take a look at this, something we haven't seen. So we've got Aquaman's pitchfork, the trident, right? And then we got question marks. I think these are hooks. These are hooks. No, this is an Italian horn. That's what that is. If you're Italian and you drive a car and you have an Italian mother, they would put this horn on your rearview mirror. And anybody who looks, it gets rid of it's the maloikas. Somebody's giving you the maloikas. They're giving you the evil eye. When somebody looks at you with bad intentions, this thing wards off the look. So that's what this is unbelievable. What is this? I can't see what that is.
So, at any rate.
Oh, here we go. Oh, this is just fire. This is supposed to be flames. Wow, is that shit or what? Here's a penis. It's got another penis. Okay, guys. This is sperm, penis. I see what he's doing. Okay.
I wake up this morning, I'm looking through Twitter, and I came across this. This is just ridiculous, man. Seriously, people need to...
This is just ridiculous. Somebody's saying the earth is round. I mean, what?
Open up their minds and understand what's going on, because we are under a huge mind F. NASA extracts $52 million a day from American taxpayers. And this is what they give you in return. Tweets. NASA loves tweeting. NASA tweets more than a Britney Spears fan, than Donald J. Trump on crack cocaine. It doesn't matter. NASA stays tweeting. They tweet all the time. We're going forward to the moon with humans. We are expanding our presence in the solar system by building and testing powerful rockets to advance human innovation. Join us in our...
This is like when you were in kindergarten, no, first grade, and the kid next to you, his name was Richie too, Richie from Boston. And Richie, can you read for us the tweet from NASA? Okay, Mrs. Whitman. We are going forward to the moon with humans. We are expanding our presence in the solar system by building and testing powerful rockets to advance human innovation. 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 Vation. Richie. No, Richie. Stop. Don't repeat what I'm saying. Stop. Say this with me. This word, Richie. Get out. Go see Dean. I don't want to see you the rest of the day. What did I say? Richie, stop it. What did I do? What did I say? Well, let go of me. Guys, forget it. What are you doing? Richie won't be joining us anymore for this evening. That's how he reads this.
Moon to Mars pursuit. Okay, well, here's
Speak up! I know,
We will
right?
go
300,000
forward to the
subscribers
moon
and
with
you can't even buy a microphone?
Well, hey guys, did you forget the fact that you already told us you went to the moon numerous times? Do you know what I'm saying? It's absolutely freaks me out that they're talking about going to the moon and then going to Mars like it's no big deal. If you haven't been to the moon since the 60s, that's the story. If you haven't been to the moon since the 60s, do not tell people
Since
that you're
the
simply going
70s,
to
you
Mars like
dick.
it's no big deal. It's absolutely, completely, and totally laughable. And I believe they're waiting for the last of us, people in our age categories, to die off so they can simply claim they never went to the moon or and something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? The problem with this entire story is there's so much fakery. There's so much bullshit. Using lessons learned in Earth orbit, we're going to figure out how to get to the moon. Do you see what I'm saying? Using lessons learned in Earth orbit, we're going to learn how to go to the moon. Well, what about the times you went to the moon? Do you see what I'm saying? These guys are slowly releasing the information that they never went up whatsoever.
Is that what
at
they're
all,
doing?
Because they can't. Here's an article right here from the Discover magazine, and it's from 2012, July 9th, 2012, and they were talking about bad astronomy, the 50th anniversary of Starfish Prime, the nuke that shook the world. 50 years ago today, the United States detonated a nuclear weapon high above the Pacific Ocean, designated Starfish Prime. It was part of a dangerous series of high-altitude nuclear bomb tests at the height of the Cold War. Its immediate effects were felt for thousands of kilometers. Blah, 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 blah. But you know what they were really doing? Do you know what the entire thing was?
Yeah, they were trying to break the firmament. Watch. I haven't seen this video.
NASA, newly discovered NASA, and Russia were trying to blow a hole in the firmament.
Richie from Arizona nailed it. How did I know? Oh my God, because that story is very common in the firmament talk.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Richie, we always see what you're saying. There isn't one thing you could say where you need to say, do you see what I'm saying? We always see, we always understand what you're saying. Your fourth grade education is not that hard to overcome. You're not overpowering us with your thought process, mister. I mean, this is crazy talk.
They're trying to see if we could blow a hole in the firmament.
Imagine if the firmament was real and there's water, because supposedly there's water above the earth and below the earth, right? So you want to blow a hole in the firmament and flood the earth? Richie, know your stuff before you start talking shit. You can't blow a hole in the firmament if you guys believe there's an ocean up there. It's so stupid.
Maybe they knew they couldn't blow it up. They just wanted to see it. You know what I mean? You hear what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You hear what I mean? You know what I'm saying, meaning?
That's what all this was. That's what all this is. That's why the story keeps changing. The lessons we learned in low Earth orbit. Well, if I was taking $52 million a day from people, I wouldn't say the lessons I was learning in low Earth orbit I'm going to use to get back to the moon. I'd say the lessons that we learned from the 6 times that we went to the moon, we're going to do better. But none of it's true. None of it's true. None of it's true. None of it's true. Check this out.
Here comes the wave. No way. Yeah, watch this. Oh, with the waves just breaking, you see that. Oh, man. Look at it.
That is amazing.
Come on.
So what are you looking at? You're looking at a deep, deep under the ocean lake. Do you see what I'm saying? They discovered this by accident while filming for Deep Earth or Blue Earth or one of those Discovery Channel shows where they show you things. This mysteriously disappeared. This shows that under the waters, there's more waters. Do you follow what I'm saying?
No, I don't follow what you're saying now. There's water under the water. Is that what?
There's more waters. Do you follow what I'm saying? Those where they show you things. This mysteriously disappeared. This shows that under the waters, there's more waters. Do you follow what I'm saying?
I
All
guess.
of this is fake. This isn't real. NASA was completely, entirely, and wholly...
Guys, seriously, who cares? Would you ever, I mean, do you really care if NASA's lying to you at this point? You can't do anything about it. We all know that. We give up. What are we supposed to do? I don't have money to go to space. I don't have money to go to the bottom of the ocean to look for water underwater. I don't have any money to leave the house or pay attention, let alone investigate NASA. And they know it, and they can say whatever they want. It did look like an underwater volcano erupting, or it looked like some sort of wave of dust and dirt under the water. You know, it could have been the bottom of the ocean floor where something was detonated, and that was the shock wave pushing all the dirt, soot, sand, whatever. It's a river under the ocean. There's rivers under the waters. Rivers under the waters. That's what he said.
Filming for Deep Earth or Blue Earth or one of those Discovery Channel shows where they show you things. This mysteriously...
It's one of those Discovery Channel shows where they show you things.
I mean, you can't write this.
By accident while filming for Deep Earth or Blue Earth or one of those Discovery Channel shows where they show you things.
You know what they do on TV? You know what they should do on TV? They shouldn't show us things. They should get people to go investigate themselves. But it's one of those shows where, you know, they show you things. It's such a stupid thing to say.
They discovered this by accident while filming for Deep.
Shut
Follow what I'm
up.
saying? All of this is fake. This isn't real. NASA was completely, entirely, and wholly staffed by captured Nazis, the alleged bad guys, the guys that were doing the worst things to other people, no matter what you think the story is, in Germany and on the other side.
Dude, it was 70 years ago. Let it go, man. You can't keep riding the same narrative for 70 years.
But I have to. That's what everybody else is saying. Did I say that out loud?
Of the
Yeah.
war. You know what I'm saying? Listen to this. Check this out. And people still think it's a complete conspiracy theory. They're out with it. They don't care. Do you see what I'm saying? This is the Central Intelligence Agency's website. Do you see what I mean?
How many times does this freaking bastard have to keep saying,
You see what I'm saying? You see what I mean? You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
That's his show.
You see what I mean? You hear what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You hear what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You mean saying, mean saying, mean. I'm Richie, mean, Boston,
God almighty, I've never heard him. That's how insecure he is.
You know what I mean? You hear what I'm saying?
Well, he wants to make sure you're on board.
If you'll notice, here's another strange little thing I just happened to stumble upon. Notice Werner von Braun's name.
Oh, it's
is
spelled.
well known among those during the Apollo moon landing. This is the Central Intelligence Agencies. That's how you spell Werner von Braun. Just a little side note.
So what? It was a misspelling. That's all it is. It's not because they're trying to hide the fact that he was German.
Apparently, that's how you spell
The
it.
Von Braun gives
Now,
it
over
away,
the years-
dillhole.
Just a little side note. Apparently, that's how you spell it now.
Oh my
Now,
God.
over the years, I've referred to this numerous times because on the father of the rocket's headstone is Psalm 19:1, and I've referred to it dozens of times. But if you look now, there's suddenly an H there. And if you look at his headstone, can you not see that this looks exactly like these have been tampered with? This isn't a perfect symmetrical straight line. See it? It just isn't. These are. These aren't.
Oh my
Mandela
God.
effect or somebody messing with history.
Oh my God. The reason it's changed, and I'm going to bet every single penny I have, that they actually spelled his name wrong. They didn't put the H in, I believe. And they had to go back and fix it. That's why it's a little off kilter. Not because there's a conspiracy dick from frickin' Boston.
Mandela effect or somebody
Oh my God. It's a Mandela effect, you bastards.
messing with history. Werner von Braun.
All right, I can't. I just can't do it. I can't. Can I?
Accurate one. Let's find the real one.
Here's Psalm
NASA is
19:1.
smoke and mirrors. This is Psalm 19:1, King James Version. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Long story short.
So maybe he liked the proverb, right? Maybe he liked what was being spoken. I just don't know anymore about this guy. I think he needs to be let go.
But we don't go anymore because we handed it off to China. Absolute total bullshit. Total, entire, complete, steaming piles of bullshit. And for all those people that are going to tell me all the space things and all the things they've got master's degrees in and associate's degrees and doctorates.
Yeah, doctorates. Forget about the people with degrees. What do they know? All I know is my eyes tell me the truth. I look out on the horizon and I see a flat plane. And I don't feel the earth moving at 1,000 miles an hour neither. I feel like we're being lied to. Because if the earth stops spinning, we'd all go flying off into space.
What a fucking moron.
Studying and regurgitating bad information just gives you a master's degree in bullshit. Mo.
Look, I believe, and I said it earlier, in a lot of the same stuff. I don't believe in depth. I believe that there are some things that are being faked, and I don't know why. Some things are faked, and I don't know why. Like with NASA and being up in the space station, I'm telling you, they're on that zero gravity plane, that airplane. If you look at them, when they show people on TV, when NASA does their interviews with the schools and everything, you ever wonder how they're always having these conversations with children in the 6th grade? They don't have them. They don't do these live things unless it has to do with school children or it's on Good Morning America with school children. Always has to do with the children because they can't tell. They don't know that they're lying. But there's been several obvious signs that you could look at these videos when they're doing those interviews and you can see that they're not in the upright position. The camera is upside down. These people are hanging upside down. And you could tell by the vein in their neck and the vein in their forehead that blood is rushing to their head. If you're in space, that shouldn't matter. And when you're on a harness and you're in a horizontal position, your head always tilts upward. But in zero gravity, it shouldn't tilt at all. But yet, when these guys are flying around on those harnesses, their head tilts to the upright position as if there's gravity. Upside down position, whatever the frig it is, it's wrong. And I've proven it on the show with some videos. But something going on with NASA wanting to go to the moon, Mars. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I have a problem with it. I don't know if they'll make it. Chuck in the chat room. Why fight flat earth? It's as real as what we've been told in school. No, it's not. I have to disagree with that. The sad thing about it, in a way, I understand what you're saying, Chuck. Because you and I, we can't prove it. We don't have a pilot's license where we could fly around the earth, fly around the equator in one shot. That's the sad thing. Now, there are pictures in space of the earth, but they're not from 22,000 miles away. It's still stitched. It's still a lie. The Himawari satellite that's supposedly taking a natural picture of the earth every 10 minutes, but there's a video out there disproving it. They don't get the data from the Himawari satellite of the clouds and of all the other stuff. The terrain, all that stuff is all stitched in. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure. But something's not right. I feel that. So if it doesn't make sense, it's whatever you're feeling is true. It's got to be. Now, you could be closed-minded and never see that. And the only reason I would say that is because you haven't done the research to understand the other way. That it's possible. Now, I don't think it makes sense that the earth would be flat. Because everything else that we see through the telescopes looks round. And I'm not talking just a NASA telescope. I'm talking about astronomers. I got the P9000. Yeah, that too. I mean, that'll work. Shows you there, but the moon's fake. But you know what I mean. Hello? Oh, we just lost connection for a second. Yeah, 9/11 was done cheap. That's for sure. You got that right. Well, look, there's not much else I could talk about tonight. Now, look, tomorrow night, I've got something special planned. And it's going to take me a while. But I'm going to make sure I do it so it's done right. So tomorrow, I probably won't be much on the Facebook or Twitter or anywhere. But nonetheless, updated the website, GUFON.net. Go there and join for free. Here's the links to where you could join. Visit GUFON.org. That's the other website for GUFON Radio, GUFON Network. Victor, who runs that site for us, put a donation button on there. If you want to donate to the cause, you can. Everything goes right back into the show. I promise you that. And also go to Twitter, which is GUFON Radio. No, it's GUFON Network. I have GUFON Radio and GUFON Network. You'd think I would have figured it out, but the way this progressed, it started out as GUFON Network, and then I said, wait a minute, the radio show. Then it GUFON Radio Stream. It's very frustrating. I'll have to work on fixing all that. But it's hard. I can't. I don't know. I don't want to lose all the people that joined up. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Why does he have to say that? You hear what I'm saying? You know what I mean. God, that's annoying. Imagine having a conversation with him. Everything would be like, he'll ask you a question. This is a conversation with Richie from Boston. What do you think happened on 9/11? And as you're saying it and describing, he's like, yeah, well, yeah, yeah, but, and he's trying to cut in. And then the last thing you say is, but I don't know. I think it was an inside job. And then he'll go, feathers. I saw a feather in the sky. He'll talk about, this guy is just like on another level of woo. Something's wrong with him. I don't know. I just can't. I don't know what to say anymore about Richie from Boston. He's just nuts. He's out of there. Anyway, well, tomorrow I'll be back, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. I want to definitely thank Stephen Erdman for joining us tonight with his wisdom and many years of being around ufology. And you can follow him. Go to the WordPress. Just look up Stephen Erdman. You'll see all this stuff on there on him. I put the link in the chat room. I'll put it in the description for the show on YouTube. But thanks for hanging out. I'm going to get out of here. Till then, we'll be back tomorrow, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, right here on GUFON Radio, stream on YouTube. I want to thank everybody hanging out, and B. Baker keeping the chat room safe and strong as our moderator. I keep forgetting to thank you for that. And Nathan as backup, thank you all. And I will see you around the internet. Have a good one. Adios. Oh, I want to show you something real quick. Hold on. Here, I'll just show it to you while the show's heading out. It's the blanket I made. That was him when he was like a couple of months old, I think. Anyway, guys, have a good night. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.